Hey, what's poppin', Jam Fam? It's me, your host, Omni. And we're here tonight to do the game club, and I've got most of LGG. I guess technically, in a way, at this point, it's half of LGG because Kate is the official fourth member.
True.
Yeah. So Scott and Julian are here. Hey, Scott. Hey, Julian.
Hey.
I am Julian.
Hello.
Are you? Are you really?
And yeah, we're doing the game club tonight, part 1 of Final Fantasy VI, where we're gonna be going over the game up until the end of the world, or the world of ruin, or however you want to put it. There's a big old crazy event that happens, and that's where we stopped.
Yeah. It's the other world. Like it's when you get to the other map. Every Final Fantasy, especially from back in these days, had like the other map. It was just a matter of what point of the game you got to it.
Round 2. Julian, did you play up to the point, or are you just going off of memory from doing it in the past?
I am I'm literally at the boss fight where you're falling from the sky and onto the fucking island right before the fucking
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
I said I couldn't play the game anymore.
Is it?
I marathoned that shit like 3 I marathoned that shit like 3 days ago.
Fall to the earth. So you're talking about
Yeah.
the fight
No,
at
he's
Ultima in
talking
the
about when you
dungeon?
fall to the floating continent. When you fight Typhon and Ultros.
Yeah. Okay.
On the airship,
you
and then
fall
go
on
onto the floating continent.
Okay. Yeah.
Like he's
do
about
that-
an hour and a half from.
Yeah. You do that fall, and then you do another fall. Although the second fall is much more dramatic.
I'm on the second fall.
Yes.
Okay. I was on the second fall, which was much more dramatic. Before I stopped.
The second.
Because
second fall
there's
is
the
like
fall from the airship
end
to
of
the
it.
continent, and then there's the fall from the
And
continent
then there's the fall
to
from the
Earth.
continent to the
He said Earth,
to the
so
airship.
I figured he was talking about that one.
Okay.
Like it's the one at the point of no return. Like that would be
Yeah.
the
Okay.
point that you're at.
Okay. We'll
Yeah,
we'll make a note of
you
it
would have
once
to
we get
fight
to
like
that point.
Ultima Weapon.
I mean, you don't really have to because, like I said, I already know the entire story.
Yeah. Have you? I can't remember. Have you actually beaten this game yourself, like to the credits?
No, because I never actually beat the final area.
Okay, all right, we're gonna get there. Just like with me with 7 and 8, I got to the final Sephiroth, and I don't know, I was like 11, and I was at the I was like 3 in the morning. I was like, I gotta sleep. I'm not gonna fight this guy again, and I just let it go. And then I fought Ultimisia, and she did her time warp bullshit, and I was like, okay, I'm basically done with this. I'm not gonna do that again.
Like the ending cutscenes are overrated anyway.
We'll get there. Well, he's the most handsomest guy at the ball, so
It's true.
that meme gets me every time. Okay, so I figured normally, I guess we could still start off the same way we usually do our game clubs, where you sort of just give a general overview of our feelings, but I kind of want to go back to what we did with 2, where I'm going to use the wiki and read through the story up until, we just discuss each part, and then we'll like go into more detail on.
Since this is I think the only other one we've done that's been broken into 2 as far as Final Fantasies.
Yeah, so far, yeah. Assuming we do more, they might be broken up even more, but we'll see how that goes.
Wait, yeah, 7, 8, 9 are all like multi-disc PS1 games, so like they will take quite a while.
Yeah, well,
because blah blah yada yada talk yak.
Yeah, there's a lot more cutscene, a lot more things they could do.
We'll be getting into that as well, because I guess to start things off, well, I was gonna segue into the beginning of the game, but we might as well put a pause on that.
We can just talk about that.
Well, I was gonna say this is the first of the Final Fantasies where we get a true intro cutscene. I can't think of too many Super Nintendo games that had like extensive cutscenes with lots of dialogue and special cameras and all that stuff like this game did. How did you guys feel about the intro cutscene?
It's very good.
It was fine.
It's one of the it's one of
like it was
it's
neat, and considering it was one of the first, like especially on the Super Nintendo, like, well, I guess one of the first JRPGs that we know of in the West, because there might be some like Japan exclusive ones that are, ones we don't know about over here, but like it was cool, it was fun, but nothing like amazing to me nowadays.
Well, yeah, not nowadays. We got to take the context of like what was this, 1994? Because 96 was when
remember
when the
exactly.
64 came out. And before this, in terms of cutscenes, it would usually be like some flat pixel art that would pop up with some, in widescreen, and there'd be some like 3 or 4 screens of text at the bottom, and then it'd move on. This one had a full-on scripted cutscene. They move on to another cutscene where there's the Magitex moving forward in a different camera angle than you see throughout the rest of the game. They arrive, and there's more cutscenes, and it leads into a whole scripted battle and all that stuff. I thought it was pretty innovative for its time, and it is the start, in terms of Final Fantasy, it's the start of where we get these really curated experiences in terms of the beginning. There are a couple other games like Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy, I think 8 started in a fight. No, you start off you start off in the infirmary.
After the Yeah, but the fight is during the intro cutscene.
Yeah, and so it sort of becomes a semi-regular pattern where we get this, we don't want you to be full open. You're not going to have full freedom. We're going to get you to do this, but we're going to get you invested, and it's much more character focused, which I think they started in 4. They sort of weaned off of it in 5, but in 6 they're like leaning way into it. That being said, knowing that we're opening, this whole thing, how did you feel about your experience with FF6 so far, Scott?
So far it's fine. I mean, I of course am gonna miss the job class system, since this game very much is more like 4 in the sense of like every character is a specific job class. So if you want to use that job class, you have to use that character specifically. Which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's kind of just the standard for most Final Fantasies going forward after this. Because even like 10, which is my favorite Final Fantasy, well, arguably my favorite Final Fantasy, has a lot of that same thing, until you really dive fully into the Sphere Grid, but that's late game. So, like, I don't care for that, where it's just like, yep, there's going to be, like, the characters I just always use. They're always going to be in the party. Whenever I can, have them in the party, because that's the style I'm looking for, the job class I'm looking for. Other than that, the story is really good. I really enjoy the plot so far. There's a little bit of stilted dialogue, or dialogue I feel like could be fleshed out if they ever did a remake of this game. But I feel like it is continuing, like Final Fantasy V, I think, started with a lot more of the character stuff, like a lot deeper of a story. Or even 4, like 4 started, 5 went ahead and made them better, and then 6 is like the final point of that. Like, this is the point where it's like, yeah, we're plot-wise and character-wise especially, I feel like this is probably the best of the 3. Even if it's not my favorite gameplay-wise so far. And I can see why people love this game. Like, honestly, I feel like all 3 of the SNES games really just need, like, a remaster in, like, 3D or something to really flesh out a lot of these cutscenes that they tried for. But just, like, it was great at the time, but there's so many things I'm like, I would love to see that, like, fully fleshed out versus, like, yeah, I can imply what happened from that sprite running over to that sprite or doing this, but it's not as impactful nowadays as it could have been and as it was back in the day. But yeah, the audio is also very good in this game. Like, I do think the soundtrack is very nice.
Yeah, I was going through, I mean, a couple things you said that I'm going to dive deeper into later. But the soundtrack, I was going through all of the Pixel Remaster soundtracks the other night, and this one has by far the most tracks compared to the other ones. Like, they really pushed a lot in terms of presentation in this game. Okay, and Julian, how did you feel about that? How do you feel about Final Fantasy VI?
I love Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah, it's not your favorite, right? 3 is your favorite?
Well, okay. Like, all-time favorites, not counting the obvious elephant in the room, which is fucking the one that hasn't ended yet.
Right.
fucking my usual, like, I rank 5 Final Fantasies like is my top favorites. 10 to 6, 3, and we'll get to the other one. Between those are my top Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
But like, but 6, I did not get to till way later, like during the pandemic. Was when I finally played 6.
Which was only in the last like 3 years or so, right? I thought you may have played this a long time ago.
No, I started playing 6 back in 2020 June of 2020, because a friend like nagged and beat into my head to actually play the game instead of experiencing the story. And because I experienced the story through Let's Players and shit, and fucking like, but then when I played it, it's like, okay, I get it. I'm mad because but I had to stop playing I never beat it because other things came out that I wanted, and then other shit happened, and I just completely let it fall to the wayside. But the pixel remaster let me go through it a lot faster and get back to that point. But I enjoy Final Fantasy 6. I like the story. Characters are interesting. Everybody overhypes the villain, in my honest opinion. But
yeah,
it has the premise and everything. It's super interesting, and the battle system is essentially like, we lost the job system, but at least it's a little more interesting than 4's, in my honest opinion, which felt kind of meh. Because there's a couple more interesting things you can do in this one that is a lot more engaging, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I figure that when we finish all the original Pixel games, we'll probably do an overall conversation of, yeah. Well, yeah, but when we finish it, we'll like look back and do some tears and stuff like that. Because again, what I'm realizing now, or what I've realized for a little while now, is that when you put all these games together, you're kind of going through history, right? Like we're seeing evolutions, we're seeing patterns, we're seeing stuff that most people wouldn't ever bother to see, because they just read Wikipedia articles or see YouTube reviews or explanations or things like that. But we're sort of going through this experience, and 2 really opened my eyes to that, because if you had just gone with what people say on the internet, 2 is unplayable garbage, right? But 2 wound up probably being my favorite of the Pixel remasters, gameplay wise. But I mean, I won't dive too deep into that. My main point being that going through these games is not only fun, but I think a bit enlightening in terms of gaming history. We're going through stuff that not too many people have done, even though a lot more people probably should.
We also are going through a little bit more uniquely than I think some other people are or have, because like some people haven't probably played 6 since the 90s, or something like that, or maybe in the early 2000s on the PS1. So and they may have played some of these other Final Fantasies as they were releasing, but it's like, well, if you're not seeing the evolution stuff that we are, because we're literally playing these within like 2 years. We've played through like 1 through 6. And it's kind of one of those things that we're seeing it in such close proximity that we're like, oh, okay, like that is an evolution of this, or that takes that. And we're also seeing it, for the most part, without nostalgia blindness to any of this.
Yeah, outside of me playing 1 and 3 and 6, I had no nostalgia for anything.
Yeah, because like I've played, before this Pixel remaster, I had played through about half of 4. I had played through about a quarter of 5. I played through the first hour of Final Fantasy 6 on my Super Nintendo as a kid. And that was it. That was all I had played before we started this. So for the most part, we've been going in relatively nostalgia blind. As far as like not blinded by nostalgia, and we're just like, yeah, no, we can see them for what they are, which is I think what helped us with Final Fantasy 2 and things like that to not be like, wow, this is unplayable garbage. It's like, no, we're just looking at it like, there's some really fun concepts here that, yeah, while not implemented perfectly, they're really fun still. Like, it is still a good game. Like, I mean, out of the NES era, that is my favorite one, period, hands down.
Yeah, same for NES for sure.
Like,
no, yeah. I had even less experience. The only one I played was FF4 up until the cave where you had to not wear metal, and I just got frustrated and stopped, which was surprisingly not a lot. But I like this game a lot. This is a thought that I'll probably have more time to muse on by the time we're done with the game. But I can see why people will put this as the best Super Nintendo game of all time, or like their greatest game of all time. It's not quite that for me, but I have this thought, and I'm gonna let it percolate for a while. But I'm just gonna put it out there. I think this game deserves to be the best Super Nintendo game of all time, but I don't think it is. And I think by that I mean it's an evolution and a culmination of everything that's come before it, but it doesn't perfectly execute all the things that it's trying to go for. Some of the dialogue's a little bit stilted. Some of the battles are a little memey, for lack of a better term. The dungeon design isn't too innovative. I think probably, for as frustrating as they were, probably 5 had better dungeon designs, except for a couple really boring ones. And the characters are a little blown out of proportion. We're gonna get more into Kefka later, but some of the other stuff I don't see talked about really deserves to be talked about, because there's some things that I'm definitely gonna get excited about as we go through. But yeah, I'm excited to get through this game, because something like Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past is probably the best Super Nintendo game of all time, but only because it doesn't overreach. It just perfectly executes what it's doing. Rather, this game is like using Mode 7 graphics. It's using an orchestrated soundtrack.
Orchestral, yeah.
Yeah. It's going for more dialogue. It's trying to evoke emotions through words. And it's just not.
It was trying to go for camera angles. Like, it was trying to go for.
Oh yeah, and then like the way that the camera spins during the opera thing and stuff like that. Like they're going for it.
I mean, they had a whole literal opera.
Yeah, they're reaching for it, but we'll see how it lands by the time it's over. But yeah, I think we're sort of ready to get into the nitty gritty of the game. If you guys wanna, unless you guys have some more overall things you want to say.
Nah.
Oh, okay. And I want to start off with, I'm on the Final Fantasy wiki, so if anybody wants to read along, they can if they want. But I kind of want to read the setting, because when I read it in game, I was like, oh, there's now I know. I feel like I've heard this before. Now it's my theory. I want to see if I can make it fit, but we'll go with this. In the world of Final Fantasy VI, 1,000 years ago, 3 gods, known as the Warring Triad, descended upon the world and warred for dominance. During the War of the Magi, the gods transformed humans and animals into creatures called espers, giving them magical powers. The gods realized the war was destroying the world and petrified themselves, their final wish being that the espers prevent their power from being abused. The espers took the god statues and fashioned a new dimension where they could live peacefully away from humans and hide away their gods. In the present, the world has experienced a technological revolution while magic has faded into legend. And then it goes into more details. When I read that part, when that part of the story was presented to me, I was like, holy shit. Is Final Fantasy 16 a prequel to Final Fantasy 6? Did anybody else have that thought?
Huh. Not until now, though.
Yeah, again, because legend and lore make things bigger and grander, and details get lost and forgotten. The idea that the espers were actually dominants, that Ultima was the god that came and they went into a war, that the 3 were Phoenix, Bahamut, and Ifrit that took on Ultima. Spoilers, I guess, for 16. You can mold that into 16 being, 1,000 years ago, a prequel of sorts to this game. And while we did see kind of an ending in 16, I mean, obviously 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years, a lot of things can happen. I'm waiting to see if there's a way to fit this into being a prequel for a sequel to 16, like on the down low, because I kind of love that idea.
I mean, it wouldn't be impossible for it to be like a fan canon sequel or sequel prequel type thing,
right?
And that Yoshi P, because being Yoshi P, like, he would have thrown in a bunch of Final Fantasy lore, so it would not be surprising if he threw it in just as like a, hey, this can be interpreted this way, like on purpose, even if it's not 100% canon. That it's like, well, yeah, I purposely did it as a reference to Final Fantasy VI.
Something, or at least as a base, because it's not like the 14.
Yeah.
The 14 writers are used to using things as a base to bounce things off the ground.
Yeah, so it'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, so that's sort of like a fan theory that I'm going with until they.
It's like the fan theory of 7 and 10 are connected.
Yeah, because of the Shinra stuff.
Because of Shinra, yeah.
I just thought that was fun when I saw that, because I love 16 so much, and I was like, oh wow, that's really interesting.
Such a good game.
Then we'll sort of start with the story, which we touched on a little bit earlier. The game opens. Two Imperial soldiers, Biggs and Wedge, are Julian knows this for sure, so I don't want him to answer. But Scott, you think Biggs and Wedge are dead? Like, you think they're gone for good?
I would probably say yes, but
I think so too. I think they're dead.
Like, I mean, I've seen a Let's Play of this game like 10 years ago, so I don't fully remember, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, it seemed that way. Let's put it that way. Like,
they got evaporated.
If they ain't,
like off
then,
camera, maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, they died off screen, like,
yeah. If you don't see a body,
off
you
screen
don't know.
death. Yeah, it could be that they survived, and like there's some side quests where or even like a side town where you just go and it's like, oh yeah, no, like they're just there.
Hey, we're
like,
chilling.
And they've said like, fuck that, like fuck the Empire, we almost died. Like,
but assuming that they did die, it does immediately set stakes for Final Fantasy fans in that nothing is like, things aren't necessarily going to be sacred. Just because you recognize them from before doesn't mean that they can't be gone. Stakes are high and stakes are real. So I do like that they did that at the beginning. But continuing with the story, two Imperial soldiers, Biggs and Wedge, accompany a magic-using woman on a march over snowy hills. The group has been sent to raid the neutral city of Narsh using Magitech armor due to reports of a frozen being known as an Esper, recently discovered in a mine shaft near the settlement. In the rear of the newest mine, they find Valigadmanda, an Esper. Is that who that Esper is?
Yeah, that's probably a spoiler, to be honest.
I guess
like,
so.
You don't know that when you first beat him.
It looked familiar.
I only know that because I was watching a speedrun recently of Final Fantasy VI, and they mention his name.
Whoa!
But like, I don't know it from the actual plot right now.
That's cool. Yeah, I thought it looked familiar, and I thought it. They never said its name. I guess that's not. I guess knowing its name isn't too big of a spoiler. That's really cool. I didn't know that was Valigadmanda. The Esper sends out pulses of magical energy, evaporating Biggs and Wedge and destroying the woman's Magitech armor. The woman awakens in the home of a man named Arvis, who explains she was being controlled by the Empire with a device known as a slave crown. Amnesiac, the woman has no other knowledge of her identity and her name, Terra. So we could probably discuss this beginning part of the game. We kind of went over the cinematics already. They get to Narsh. There's a lot more dialogue. How did you guys feel about the curated combat here? Like, you had your Magitechs, you had limited things that you could do. You were kind of invincible. Did you guys like that they kind of forced you into an unlosable section?
Well, yeah, because essentially it's part of the setup.
Because this is the first
It's
time
part
we
of the
see
setup,
that.
and it also shows off. It's like these people are with freaking the military, so it's like yeah, they're not fucking around. Military's got most of the power and shit.
And it's also. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the only thing it really did for me was at least establish like the strength of the Magitech armors, but then again, like they're not really that big of a threat when you do encounter them later. So, like, I thought they were going to be a much bigger threat considering how powerful they were in that portion of the game, and they really aren't.
They do also
So-
establish Terra being strong because this summary isn't obviously going to go through all the dialogue, but Biggs and Wedge are mentioning, she murdered 50 soldiers alone before they were able to get the slave collar on her. So somehow, some way, Terra has a vast amount of power within her.
Yeah.
Narsh is
Yeah,
also
you at least have glimpses of that.
Narsh is also a really ugly town. I gotta say, it's
Well, it's a mining town.
Yeah, I did not like being there. It's very oppressive in its like what's the word I'm looking for? It's
Ambiance?
Yeah, it's ambiance. I did not like it too much, but I guess that was on purpose because a lot of negative stuff happens there.
Well, it's also supposed to be like, I mean, you're talking about a mining town that's trying to stay neutral in a war that's going on, that's like very present in, like, even in that town. So, like, it's supposed to have kind of an oppressive atmosphere and not feel like the safest place. So I can kind of get what they're going with on that one.
Yeah, and all the people there are huge assholes. We'll get more into
most of the
neutral
people-
city of Narsh.
Most of the people in most of these areas are fucking huge assholes, especially the Resistance.
Yeah, there's
Like-
really no real affable people that you run into. They're all kind of huge dicks. All right, I'm gonna read these next. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say also fun fact for anyone that didn't know, Terra's name in Japanese is Tina. It was changed in localization to Terra
Tina.
because they wanted a like a foreign sounding name, an exotic sounding name. Sorry.
That's like if you some trivia or like a fun fact in that realm. The Japanese named their final boss in Street Fighter 4 Seth because they wanted something foreign and intimidating sounding, but they didn't realize that that's the name of an accountant. Like nobody really
Yeah, like
considers
it's
Seth
just such a
like
generic.
name.
It was kind of the same with this one, where it
Yeah.
was like they named her Tina, and the American localizers were like, no, that's just a base, like with Tina Fey, like nah.
Tina Turner at
Yeah, I
that
thought
time.
Seth was based
Yeah,
off. Was based.
we'll call her
the name.
Terra.
I thought the name Seth was based off one of the people, one of the American side of a fucking Street Fighter who helped fucking
Yeah,
make
Seth,
Street Fighter 4 be a thing.
yeah, Seth Killian, but they thought it was sort of a cool sounding name, but they didn't realize it's kind of a lame ass name.
It's a basic name.
All right, I'm gonna read these next two paragraphs just because they introduce two characters that we can probably deep dive into. So the Narsh guards arrive to arrest Terra, but Arvis sneaks her through the back door into the mines. Terra's cornered and plummets down a shaft into another area of the mines. She falls unconscious, remembering a man named Kefka Palazzo, who placed the slave crown on her and ordered her to immolate 50 Imperial soldiers as a test of her magical power. A man named Locke arrives at Arvis's house. Arvis and Locke are members of the Returners, a rebel faction opposing the Empire, although the town of Narsh remains neutral. Arvis asks Locke to get Terra safely out of the city, and with the help of Mog and some other Moogles who live in the mines, Locke fights off the Narsh guards to escape with Terra. So, let's talk about Kefka.
He has a unique laugh, like that sound anime or that sound effect. Like, I have to admit, is at least something memorable.
I thought in all the rumors and like everybody reviewing it and everything that I've heard about Final Fantasy 16 that Kefka was going to be more Joker-esque, but he's very much a henchman narcissist, which is much
he's
more
an insane
palpable. But I wouldn't even say he's that insane. He's just like, oh, I mean, we'll get to it more.
I mean,
I don't understand his motivation.
He has no motivation.
his motivation is just the basic motivation of power. Like, that's all I can figure out for his motivation is just like he wants to be powerful, like the most powerful.
Yeah.
Why? Because he can be.
Fuck him.
Like
Fuck him.
like yeah, he doesn't really have a motivation other than like the generic, like, yeah, I just want unlimited power. Like,
I have power and I want to watch.
all right.
Even that, I don't think that's 100% accurate, because I think it's more anarchy. And I'll say that
Yes,
because
he wants to watch the world burn.
Because the Emperor wants power, and we'll get into the discussion of it later.
I think they just wanted a different level of power, because the Emperor wanted to be like ruler of the world.
Right.
Kefka wanted to be God.
But I don't
like.
I don't think. Well, as far as now, this far, I mean, maybe that becomes more clear.
I don't know.
In
Like the way
game.
I don't know. I haven't played the second half. Like, to me, like, just getting it from like where he wanted to, like, he just slight jump ahead where he starts like commanding the triad and stuff, like, to me implied that he wanted to be over them, which would be considered gods in that world. Like, he saw them as just like, no, I can command them to do my bidding. Like, that's the level of power he wanted, versus like the king being like, what the fuck? Like, nah, I just wanted to rule the world with an iron fist. Like,
not burn every person on the planet to cinders.
Yeah, the Emperor wanted power to rule, but Kefka, because he was doing that from the lower levels, he would get mad if somebody questioned his orders in any way. That's what I'm saying. He's like a supreme narcissist, because nobody can defy him. It can't be a soldier, it can't be a general, it can't be an emperor, it can't be a god. Nothing and nobody can deny him what he wants in the moment. And it's like, I thought he'd be much more nefarious, much more picky, or I thought he'd be more like Joker, where he had all these crazy big plans, but it feels like he's just going from moment to moment, just destroying stuff for the sake of destroying it. I don't understand how he could be a character, because like the Emperor, maybe he was born a noble and he wanted people to respect him. Maybe he was like insecure or whatever. I don't understand what motivates Kefka if he was just born psychotic.
Yeah, and
I mean, the man just,
I don't know, like, the
of his own free will.
Like, from what I've seen in the game, like, we just have to speculate, because all we're given is like power. But to your point, like, it's not all of it. It's just we have to speculate on the rest right now. Like, I don't know what else. Like, I don't see him as that great of a villain, if I'm gonna be honest. I see him as just as generic as something like X-Death, or, you know, like even I saw the Emperor as actually a better one from Final Fantasy 2. That's like a better villain.
The Emperor 2 is a great villain. I didn't like X-Death too much because he was a very flat character. He was literally a
tree,
a tree that was birthed by evil. So he was evil just by nature.
Yeah, it was just like he was like Cloud of Darkness, in my opinion, where it was just like, yeah, it's just darkness, like, in concept. Like, oh, okay, like,
yeah, he's like.
But I see Kefka as just kind of like
all that I see
as boring. Like, I don't know. I don't hate Kefka, but I also don't see what everyone's like, oh my god, he's like the greatest Final Fantasy villain. And I'm like, he's fine. Like, he plays his part.
It's because of what he accomplishes.
Yeah, we're gonna see more of it, because at this point,
yeah,
we haven't. What we've seen him do is poison a lake. We've seen him call his soldiers to raise towns. We've seen him destroy the world, basically.
Yeah, but like every Final Fantasy villain has destroyed the world at this point. Like X-Death, merged the two worlds, destroying a bunch of it. Cloud of Darkness pretty much destroyed the world. The Emperor from Final Fantasy 2 literally raised hell and destroyed the world.
When we get to a certain town, I am going to point out one super evil thing that has been in this game that I've probably never seen in any video game ever. And I don't know if it's a direct result of Kefka. Maybe we can get into it, because I don't remember too much. I was playing a lot of these games like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's interesting. He's interesting enough for me to want to know how he got to be who he is and why he is the way that he is. If that's never answered, I'm gonna be supremely disappointed. But I am curious to go along this ride with him as the villain. I'm just like,
that's why I really think that this game would benefit from like a remake or a remaster.
Yeah,
like where they really flesh out some of the stuff and really like go into some of these characters more.
Keep a pin in that, because I want to come back to that thought, because you mentioned that earlier, and there's a specific thing for that I'd like to discuss. But that being said, the other character mentioned in that little thing I read was Locke, and Locke seems like a really cool dude. He seems like a relatively interesting character. He's definitely an archetype, which a lot of these characters are archetypes, which is another reason why I say it's not quite a masterpiece, because they aren't fully fleshed out, at least not yet. Again, I'm waiting to fully come to terms with that.
Until next month. Like,
here's the problem I have with Locke. I thought this was going to be a story about Terra, but for a big part of this first half, Locke seems to be the star of the show. I could not tell if he was the main protagonist, if they were co-protagonists. The story just shifted to him and his feelings and his backstory and stuff like that for a long time. How did you guys feel about Locke?
I'll let Julian go first.
Oh, Locke, what a character. Fucking things that he does later, it's like, what the fuck? But Locke is technically, Locke is your typical protagonist character with lots with previous baggage, but it doesn't. That he hides it.
I don't know if
he hides
hero
quote
character,
unquote
but...
hides it. Well, protagonist. I didn't say like hero. I said he's your
protagonist character. Like,
okay.
I would call him more the noble thief. To be honest with you, is more of what the archetype that I think they were going for with that was.
But it's like
he's the noble thief.
Yeah, but that noble thief thing is like it's like a trope now.
I don't know if he's that
well
noble.
Now.
I don't know if he's that noble. His
nobility is more of chivalry.
It's more of like he has chivalry. He's not like going around stealing from like poor people. He's like Robin Hood. Hey, that's one of my favorite characters.
I thought he was more like Indiana Jones or like a Nathan Drake. I thought he was that kind of archetype.
Because he's a treasure hunter.
I figured he was more like a swashbuckler. I mean, he is a thief. Don't get me wrong. But
literally his
job is thief, yeah.
Like job class is thief. But like,
even though half the time I barely get him to steal shit.
I haven't even stolen a thing from an enemy.
Oh yeah, we'll get into
never
more
used
of that
that
later.
Command, but
reading your guide, Scott, I understand now why you play the way that you do, because you're following that. I have a lot more openness in the way that I play, and I steal a lot. It's really fun.
Oh, I'm gonna be honest. The stealing portion has nothing to do with the guide. It's just I never do that in any Final Fantasy unless, like, I find out ahead of time, like, oh, there's something really good to steal from this. Like, other than that, I will never steal from an enemy in any game whatsoever.
We'll get more into it when we go over our gameplay experiences, but I found that this is the first game where I've done some things that I've never really focused on before, stealing being one of them. Yeah. How do you feel about Locke? I guess any final thoughts on Locke?
I think Locke is fine. Like, I enjoy the character. Like, he's one of the characters I feel actually has character to an extent. Because there's a lot of party members in the party that, one of which was mentioned in that paragraph you were doing, that has no character whatsoever and is just a filler.
Yeah, Mog's a weird one.
And it's like I feel like there's a lot of characters that are just, at least at this point in the plot that we've gotten to, that are just filler. Like, there is no point to them because they're optional. So they can't have any stakes in the plot because you may or may not have them. Yeah. And I don't care for that. But at least Locke doesn't suffer from that. And I feel like his story is fine. Like, I like his, like the tragedy of his, lost love, and then I do appreciate the like budding romance between him and Celeste.
Yeah, he loves to fuck that up too. He's just like,
Yeah, but it's like
he's really
I don't know. That feels somewhat relatable. That it's like, yeah, you can just fuck things up by accident, and
Yeah, it was relatable
because relationships are complicated, and
until you find out
well, and like one of the things he fucked up was just literally
he didn't talk
for
to
a
her.
moment. Neither she didn't talk to him either. Like they both kind of fucked that one up. But she was all upset because he, for a second, believed Kafka that she was betraying him.
Yeah, and then when she tried to explain herself, he ignored her. And then when he was like, you know what? Maybe that was a dick move. She was like, yeah, that is a dick move. And then they left. They're just sort of
she ignored him first. And then when when he was like, I'm sorry, and then like she ignored him on the boat, later
that's what I said. He went to her to try to.
He ignored
himself.
her after she ignored him. He was like, "Okay, fine." But she wants to ignore me. I'll ignore her.
But the reason she ignored him in the first place was because he believed that she was a traitor for a
second, right? But like, they've known each other at that point for like what, a week? Like you just are like, like I've known you for a small amount of time. I'm now just supposed to blindly trust you. Like I'm not gonna blindly trust Kafka, but at the same time, when an evil person saying like, "Oh, this person that was formerly evil is not as not as formally evil as you thought," for a second, I could understand being like, "Wait, is he telling the truth?" And then, like it's implied that he pretty much immediately afterwards didn't believe Kafka, but it was that moment of hesitation that she got upset about.
Yeah, and so he went to...
And it's like, you're in the middle of a fucking war, like, and you're upset about him having a moment of hesitation.
Teenagers!
Like,
well, they're not teenagers. I just looked up their
That's the problem.
Locke
like,
is 24.
Oh.
Like, that's the problem, is like, I feel like that was just a poor writing thing.
Like 18.
Yeah, I just feel like it's poor writing. But Locke, I don't love him, I don't hate him. I think he's just fine. I do enjoy, though, the romance between him and Celeste, or Celis, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit of a fuckhead.
But
he's fun to use in my party, I'll tell you that much.
Well, you're pretty much forced to use him for most of the fucking game.
That's why I was saying earlier, is like, I can't tell who's supposed to be the main character because so much focus is given to him, and...
Well, yeah, which is weird, because canonically, Terra is the only main character.
Yeah, if you look at any history or any other game, it's Terra, but when playing it, she doesn't seem to be that...
there's large portions of the game, she's just gone.
Oh boy, it's gonna be fun.
At least,
second half. It's gonna be fun when we get to the second half, because I can't talk, because I can't say anything.
No, you can't mention about the second half.
Yeah,
we're not there yet.
We'll get
I can't talk about it.
But yeah, in this first half, it's very Locke heavy. Terra does come back, admittedly, but this first, I guess, like the first half of the first half is very Locke heavy.
See,
yeah,
in my honest opinion, I feel like a fucking. Give me a second. Something. There was a loud noise, and I need to take care of that.
Geo fucking things up.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, no, like, it is weird how much Locke plays a role. Like, I understand main cast, because, like, he is what you would call the main cast. I would say the 6 that are shown when you start up Final Fantasy 6, like, on the Pixel Remaster on, like, PS5, is pretty much the main cast, which is Terra, Locke, Edgar, Saban, Celeste. Actually, Setzer I would not consider part of the main cast.
No.
It's pretty much the other 5, at most.
Hey, I'm back. Setzer is part of the main cast.
Okay, I guess maybe he's gonna be more important later, but for now, he's...
Yeah, because, like, for now, he's barely a thing. Like, I don't know, like, I guess he is, like, forcibly recruitable, because certain characters are like skippable completely and they have no bearing on anything.
Yeah.
Now I feel that sometimes they put a lot of emphasis on Edgar.
I mean, there's reasons.
After the Locke,
I love him, but We'll talk about him when we get to him. Like, he's a great character.
We're about to. Edgar is the. I would say there's only 3 important characters so far, and it's Locke, Terra, and Edgar. I wouldn't even put Sabin in that boat, even though you get a big segment with him. In terms of story,
you could kind of loop them both together because they're twins anyway. They're twins and they're twin princes anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I would say Edgar's more important than Sabin, honestly. Sabin is fun. I like playing.
Edgar's literally like the king of a nation that's at war with the Emperor, or with, the Emperor Gestalt and like Kefka.
We'll get more into that in a bit. Okay, so the next part of the story. So Locke and Terra, the two travel south to Figaro Castle, the seat of rule and of a desert nation allied with the Empire. Terra meets Figaro's flirtatious king, Edgar, who attempts to hide her from the Imperial ambassador, Kefka, who arrives looking for her. Locke tells Terra that Edgar's alliance with the Empire is superficial and secret. Edgar collaborates with the Returners, using Locke as a go-between. Kefka sets the castle aflame, and Terra, Edgar, and Locke flee into the desert on chocobos, which I like that scene a lot.
I just have a question of how they lit a stone castle on fire.
Magic.
Like,
in the desert, right? With all the sand. It's magic. While the castle burrows into the sand at Edgar's command, protecting its occupants, Kefka sends 2 Imperial soldiers in magic armor to attack the trio, and during the battle, Terra uses magic, stunning Edgar and Locke. Oh, you have to? I just did magic.
No, you do not have to.
Okay, all right. I did get the dialogue.
It is I did as well, but it is completely skippable.
Okay, cool. During the battle, Terra used magic, stunning Edgar and Locke. Intrigued by Terra, Edgar and Locke ask her to meet with the leader of the Returners, Bannon, to receive protection from the Empire and gain understanding of the abilities. Terra agrees, and they travel to South Figaro and then north through Mount Colts. They encounter a man named Vargas, the son of the martial artist named Duncan Harcourt, who has recently murdered his father out of jealousy and hate. Edgar's twin brother, Duncan's pupil, Sabin, intervenes and defeats Vargas and joins his brother to help stop the Empire. So there's a big intro there, an action scene, a chase, and we introduce our next 2 big characters, Edgar and Sabin. How was that experience
we had to fill out
for you
the party
guys?
of 4.
Going from the castle to the not the castle.
I at least feel like it flowed well plot wise, to be honest. Like, for the most part, and it introduced us to some different characters. The only part that I felt was forced was the fact, like, oh no, we just happened to meet like Sabin's master's son, who's now trying to kill us, and then Sabin just happens to show up in order to protect us. Like, wow, what are the odds?
Astronomical.
Like, that felt very forced compared to, like, oh yeah, no, we went to the castle, like Figaro Castle, and then like Kefka showed up because he had heard Terra had gone there, and fleeing, like, felt pretty normal, like pretty natural plot wise. But yeah, the Sabin showing up, as much as I love Sabin and Edgar and how I enjoy their relationship a lot, I feel like that's fleshed out decently well in this game.
To speak to that point, because it is a lot of these games are what's the word, like, where a coincidence just magically happens. Contrived. Yeah, a lot of these games are contrived to get the plot going. I will say, in defense of Sabin showing up, if you speak to NPCs around that first town, they do mention a martial arts master who did who adopted somebody recently, and then you're given
you can also see him at the
the
pub and stuff like that too.
Yeah, you're given a chance to figure out that Sabin is there, so it's not fully contrived. But I mean, what would these games be if we weren't going to meet our party, right?
Oh yeah, and like that was the whole thing. Was it's like we have to fill out our like 4-person party as quickly as possible.
It's better than
while also introducing the villain.
It's essentially better than 3 on 3 during the in the DS version, where fucking you just like it's like, oh, I just happened to meet the fucking person who the one of the girls who actually is supposed to be like also another warrior of light who just hid on this ship. It's like, cool. Why?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my favorite part of 3 was how fleshed out and interesting their characters were. Anyway,
Yeah.
in
Yeah, the
I guess I'll ask Jock real
characters
quick.
with
Hey,
no
Jock,
name.
we're doing the game club for Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah, I
did you
see.
did you get any? Did you get anywhere in it, or did you play it,
Like,
or how'd you do? Oh, did I lose my connection?
and, like
No,
no, it's Jock.
Oh, Jock,
he's-
we lost you.
he's having technical difficulties.
My headphones just like disconnected for a second.
They're like, we don't want to hear your bullshit.
No.
I haven't been playing any games except for like a bit of Osu, like
Yeah.
while I'm like listening to stuff. So like I just
So,
no, I haven't touched anything.
You
Okay.
could have just said.
Yeah, you can just chill then if you'd like. It's
Yeah,
fine.
but well, I actually just
Yeah, we'll
came,
be doing
like,
other stuff afterwards.
I came to say what's up real quick because I'm about to go like deliver some food to Kate. I cooked her something for eat at lunch.
Because after we're done with this conversation, we were gonna watch the state.
We're
of play.
doing the state of play. Yeah.
Yeah. So
None of us can
if
see
you
it.
come back in time and you decide to, we're gonna watch the
All right,
state
we
play
can.
together.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can message you like when we're gonna start that
All
if
right,
you want.
I'll see. I've been awake since 3 a.m. Yeah, I've been awake since 3 a.m.
But you went to sleep.
Why?
I
I
Not
told
stuff I'm
them
gonna
what's
talk
going
on.
on already.
okay, yeah. So I slept a long
Don't
time because of that.
Divulge it on stream.
I know I'm not going to. I said I slept a long time because of that, and then like I woke up at 3 a.m. and I stayed up to take care of some stuff regarding that this morning, and then I told Kate that I would cook something for her, not realizing that means I couldn't sleep, so I chugged a bunch of tea for the caffeine and like just finished cooking like a little while ago.
Pierce is here. He says that he recognizes the struggles you're going through, Jock. He's not been able to sleep well for weeks until like this week.
It'd be
Yeah,
like that.
that
It'd
sucks.
be like
Sorry to
that,
hear
man.
that for
It'd be
both
like
of
that
you.
sometimes.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get your sleep together, brother.
Yeah. But so honestly, like the thing is, after I deliver this food, I might just come over here and pass the fuck out.
Well, we'll see what happens, man. We'll. Still
I mean, that's
message you.
fine.
It's not
Yeah, we'll
fine.
still message you. You can decide then. Like, it's up to you.
It's fine. Now he's being
All right.
nice.
All right. Then we'll go back to the game club.
All right. Peace.
Later. So where were we? The Empire.
Oh, we were talking about Sabin and
Sabin.
What's
Edgar.
that?
Edgar.
Oh yeah, he's like
Which-
you get a bit of preview from him, which they did a good job of. It's
Yeah.
contrived, but not like annoyingly so. in
Yeah,
my
it was just
opinion.
like I don't know. It was the whole fact that like the son of his martial arts master happened to show up at that place. Like
How
while he was
convenient.
like Sabin was trying to like hunt him down, I guess, and it's like, yeah, okay. It's not enough to ruin the game, obviously, for me.
it puts.
It
a
was just
thought
one
in
of
my
those
head-
things of like, oh, like
Oh, how convenient.
It puts a thought in my head that like if this game were made in 2024, that would be like a prequel comic or something. Like how like when the game came out and there was no backstory in game, people would be like, "Oh, you got to read the digital K manga
Yeah.
online," and it
You have to
explains
play
how
the
they got
you have to
there.
play the mobile
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
Either that or you'd
get
have,
the
like,
mobile episode,
you know,
on
some,
Fate
like-
Exodus or something.
yeah.
You have to watch you have to.
Or they might throw in like, you know, a little
read the
side
graphic novel.
like side cutscene that you could optionally like watch, and it's like, oh, okay.
You didn't talk to this NPC, so
in-
you didn't get a glimpse of him.
It did still annoy me, and I mentioned this on one of the past streams, that like you talk to the woman in the castle about Sabin, where you can name him and everything else, and she mentions that it's Edgar's twin brother, and then you get to the part where you meet Sabin, and Terra's just like, I didn't know you had a twin, and I'm like, bitch, you were literally told, like what do you mean? Like, we named the motherfucker. Like, you were told explicitly that Edgar had a twin.
Well, sometimes Scott, people like to dissociate and not pay attention to what's actually going on
Look,
in front of them.
I'm gonna forgive Terra because if I were to meet Sabin and he was that fucking busty, I would forget everything as well. Why is his sprite so top heavy? Why does he have such
Because
huge tits?
He can suplex a fucking train.
Sabin is what's that? What's
He's-
that? Yaoi.
he's got them bara
where, like,
titties.
They can fuck dudes' tits. What's that? Yaoi.
Yeah.
Bara titties.
Bara titties.
Yeah, bara
He's got
titties.
bara titties. Like, it's crazy the chest.
Hell
that
yeah,
Sabin
he does.
has. Even if you're looking at my stream online, Edgar's right there in his blue armor. His chest is flat. But when you meet Sabin, he's got these butt.
That's because Edgar doesn't lift as much, man.
I guess not, because he's just fucking so top heavy.
Like, motherfucker can suplex a train.
He's too busy being fucking thirsty.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sabin
I will say though, I do love like the cutscene with like them deciding who takes over and stuff like that, and Edgar. It was a nice character moment between the two, of like Edgar having to being the one to kind of choose the path of self-sacrifice and not follow his dreams in order to take over the castle so that his brother could go out and do what he wanted to do by kind of tricking him with a coin.
This happens a few times in the game where you're given control of somebody for a short time to get story through. It's a presentation thing, but you see it a lot more in future installments. Like, for example, when you control Edgar to go outside and talk to Kefka, and then you go back in and you're not controlling Edgar anymore. You see things like when you're controlling in 16 Joshua, for like in the first chapter or prologue or whatever, you control Joshua for like a little bit to get story. You see a bit more of that in this game and in other Final Fantasy games, but I think this is the first time where they explicitly did that. Had you change party members for story, and then that was the other reason.
No, there is one other thing, or one point I can think of that did it before this game, and that was 4. Because there is a point where you take what's his name, the Bard.
Edward.
Bard?
Edward.
Where you have Edward go out and fight the Sahagin because, like, he thought it was like he sees an apparition of his like girlfriend that passed away.
Oh,
and you have to fight the Sahagin. Yeah, the scripted battle with that. That was, you took control over Edward for that scene just for story, basically.
Yeah.
To do a scripted battle.
You do,
so that was kind of like the precursor to this.
That's Sabin. He's got a huge tits, like big old titties. Look at that. Okay.
But yeah, that is the only other time I can think of that they used it. So they probably were like, "Hey, remember that thing we did once, like 2 games ago? Let's expand on that idea." And to be honest, I feel like this, in a lot of ways, expands a lot more on 4 than in a lot of things than it does on 5. Just by how like the party makeup changes a lot, how you're constantly switching perspectives, how you're doing things like that. I feel like 6 takes a lot more from 4 than it does from 5.
Yeah. 6 is much. I mean, we'll get into it, I guess, more when we're doing overall for the entire game. But 6 feels so far more story focused. Okay, 4 was more character focused. 5 was more, I think, probably gameplay focused because of the job thing.
Yeah.
And then 6 feels more story focused.
Yeah, like overarching story focused.
Yeah, I think that's how it's going so far. They are making the counters more interesting. Like when you go through Mount Colts and you're riding the rafts and all that stuff, you have like these scripted battles where you know, it's not random. You just have to go through fighting these enemies. Everything.
Yeah, like what enemies you encounter is random, but not how many encounters you get.
Do you know you can go back through those if you missed an enemy and just replay the river shit again and get the enemy you missed?
Yeah, it's the same with like the I think the minecart.
Yeah, I did it for a blue magic thing, and that whole sequence is just as annoying the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Julian, did you have anything to say about the castle sequence?
Not really.
Then we continue on. At the Returner hideout. By the way, I hate the name Returners. I thought that was such a stupid name for the rebels, but whatever.
It doesn't make sense because what are they returning to?
Yeah.
Like, it would make sense if like their homeland was taken and they're wanting to return to the homeland or something. Like, but no, they're just the Returners. Like what does it mean?
I really feel like when they named her Tina, it was probably Tina Turner, because now we have the Tina Returners.
Yeah.
At the Returner hideout, Bannon The returners and Terra discuss their plan to strike back at the Empire.
Fuck
Deducing
Bannon.
that the Empire's power derives from the rediscovery of the lost art of magic, Bannon asks Terra to return with him to Narsh and speak with the
Ask
Frozen
is a strong
Esper.
word.
Yeah, they basically force people to do whatever they
Like
want.
he's basically like, do you want to be mentally controlled by a device with the Emperor, or mentally manipulated by the fucking leader of the returners?
It's like, listen, you're gonna be a part of this fight whether you like it or not. There's no
Like-
living peacefully for you.
He was basically like, you're our last hope. Like, I'm gonna guilt trip the fuck out of you and not let you leave this place until you say yes.
Did you say no
Because
until...
I want to do this. Like, I want to use your powers just like the Empire was using your powers.
But it's different.
Did
it's
you
like-
say no to him over and over again?
Yeah.
Okay, for people that don't know, whenever you're in this part of the game and you attempt to leave when all this stuff is over, the Bannon, he's like, hey, will you help us? You can say yes or no. If you say no enough times, it's still gonna force you to help him, but instead of getting like an ether or something, you get the Genji gloves, which are pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But you just have to say no over and over again.
Yeah, the guy that I was using told me
Hey,
to,
no,
and
well,
I was
he's-
like, well, fuck this dude anyway, because, like, I mean, you just are talking about an 18-year-old girl that's dealing with the loss of her memories, trying to figure out who the fuck she is, what the fuck she is, and you're gonna sit there and mentally manipulate her. Fuck you. Like, I get it that you're, like, wanting to, quote-unquote, do the right thing. Like, I get the Empire is evil, but, like, fuck you for choosing this method of doing it to just mentally manipulate, like, a kind of, like, not all their person in the situation. Like,
yeah, all the old,
like,
all the
I
old men
feel
in this
like-
game are real
like-
manipulative.
and they treat it as like, nah, you know, he's inspiring her and shit. And it's like, no, he's mentally manipulating her. Is what he's doing. Like, fuck him.
Okay. The group receives word the Empire has attacked South Figaro and discovered the location of the returners' hideout. Locke volunteers to sneak into South Figaro to slow the Empire's advance, while Bannon, Terra, Edgar, and Sabin travel to Narsh by rafting down the Leith River. The voyage is interrupted by a chatty, hostile octopus named Ultros, and during the battle, Sabin washes
Love
down
him.
a different fork in the river. Ultros was first introduced into Final Fantasy canon in this game. So for people that like or hate Ultros is where you can blame Final Fantasy VI for that.
I love Ultros.
Okay. Ultra fucking. Oh, God damn it. Alright, one. Fucking. What happens to Sabin? It's like, God, dude, fucking. Seriously?
I mean, it's Sabin being meathead Sabin. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
He jumped
So-
for people that don't know, he jumped into a river to chase after Ultros whenever Ultros escaped the battle, and then he got knocked out underwater and got thrown away from the party because he's an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, he's Sabin being Sabin.
All right. So now the party's split at this point. Well, you're gonna have a Sabin story, you're gonna have a Locke story, and you're gonna have a Terra story. We'll start with Locke because that's where this retelling is. As Locke sneaks out of Figaro, he finds and rescues an Imperial general named Celis, who's turned traitor to the Empire. That one sentence was like 45 minutes of gameplay. That was one of the better sections in the game, in my opinion, because in this part of the game, you're Locke, you're one party member, you don't get a bonus, the enemies aren't like reduced health or anything. If you pick a fight with a Magitech armor, you're fighting a fully powered Magitech armor. You run through this labyrinth of a town called Narsh solo to knock out simple merchants. You steal costumes. You bribe children. You do a whole bunch of stuff in this town to get.
So,
from
fun
point A to
fact:
point B.
most of that is optional.
I was following the guy that told me to go through all that. I did.
I was watching the speed. Yeah, I was watching the speed run, and like, all you have to do is steal the clothes from the merchant, and there's like that big building in the middle. There's actually, if you go up against the building, there's a walkway that goes across to the other side, so you never have to talk to the soldier or anything else. You can get from one side of the place to the other.
Yeah, I believe
when
that.
it first came out, they thought it was a developer, like a glitch, and then it's been in every version of the game, so they're just like, nah, it's, I guess, intended. So, if you're not going for 100%, it is all completely optional, other than knocking out the merchant to get the alcohol, and then like going up and giving the old dude the alcohol to not get the password, because the motherfucker still does not tell you the password.
Also,
Which annoys the shit out of me, gameplay wise.
if you because you go to Narsh once earlier, if you explore Narsh before the Empire is taken over, you can go into the secret room backwards, and like about how, because I was just exploring. One of the things I love doing about these old games, because I sort of play them as naturally as I can. I am using a guide, but when I go in, I talk to every NPC just because I want to. I go into every house just because I want to. You can fully explore Narsh. The only thing that happens is that you can come into where that kid is. You can go into that room from the secret room, but you can't enter the secret room from there. You have to get the password and go through the whole sequence when that happens. I didn't know that, and then I was like, "Oh,
well,
I've been here before."
you don't actually get the password.
Or that kid opens.
He
the
never
door.
tells you.
The kid opens the door.
He asks you for the password, and you have to just guess. Like, there's nothing in the game will tell you the password. If you don't have a guide, it's just a guess.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Because I did find that out from the speedrun. They're like, yeah, there is nothing in the game will tell you the password. It is just a guess. Like, unless you have a guide or know what it is.
That's pretty funny. Okay, so at this point, Locke has met Celis. And Celis, they're not going too deep into it. She's a former general of the Empire who has been mutated or like experimented enhanced with magic. So she's your second magic caster now outside of Terra.
What it is that she ate god damn it, she ate Auracite, which essentially gives her.
She didn't eat Auracite. They injected it.
No, Scott. She ate the Magicite fruit, and now she can't go into the ocean, but she has magic powers. It's obvious. It's there. You just gotta talk to the NPCs.
Yeah, clearly.
The pair. All right, so I like Celis. Do we want to go any deeper into? I mean, do anyone want to go deeper into Celis? Do you guys want to talk about Celis?
I mean, I would go deeper into Celis, but
shut up.
Do you want to talk about her more now or later, or how do you want to deal with talking about Celis?
I mean, we could talk more about her later, because I think at this point in the plot, she really doesn't have much character.
We should talk about her more when we get to the opera, because then we can go from beginning.
That is when I think a lot of
I will
her
mention
is
that
fleshed out more.
That I do like Celis. Mostly gameplay wise, if I'm gonna be honest. But
yeah, Runic saved my ass.
I mean, that's not too bad.
For people that don't know, she has a unique ability where she will focus all magic attack, or as from my experience, I don't know how far it goes, but all magic attacks on her, and instead of damaging her, they heal her for a very small amount, but they do heal her. And then some monsters or some battles, she saves your ass. It's crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah, we'll get to it when we do gameplay and all that.
Gee, what the fuck?
The pair journeys north. The pair being Locke and Celis. The pair journeys north to Narsh. Meanwhile, Sabin washes ashore. Hello, Serlina. We're doing the game club. The pair journeys north to Narsh. Meanwhile, Sabin washes ashore north of the kingdom of Doma. With the help of a ninja mercenary named Shadow, Sabine infiltrates an imperial camp. I'm gonna call him Sabine because I'm pretty sure a lot of these names are foreign on purpose, and I think it's Sabine.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always ever heard it pronounced Sabin.
Probably because you're listening to white people.
I mean, it's also because the game never says it. So
well, yeah, they don't have anything.
It's like and he doesn't appear in anything. Like Terra appears in places where they mention her name, like in the city and stuff.
Like that.
But Sabin doesn't. So to me, Celeste and Celis, it's up to interpretation of whatever. I don't think there's a wrong way to pronounce it, if that makes sense.
For Celis, I think it's Celestial. I don't know what her role is.
No, they actually pronounce Celis in World of Final Fantasy, so we find out it's Celis.
Okay. Okay, so they attack Kristoff's name's infiltrate an Imperial camp as the Empire attacks Doma Castle under General Leo Kristoff's command. Cyan, retainer to the King of Doma, strikes down the Imperial commander in an attempt to turn back the Empire. Kefka poisons Doma's water supply, killing nearly all of Doma Castle's inhabitants. Cyan's family perishes, but Cyan himself survives. So we've got a couple things to discuss here. This whole sequence, infiltrating the camp, the fight at Doma, the murder or the genocide of Domans, and introducing Cyan as another party member. I like this section of the game. Playing through the camp, you get a lot more of the dialogue cutscene things where, you know, you hit a certain threshold and you have to go through dialogue and you get a lot more story. This is also where we see more of Kefka and how he interacts with the people around him. Because before this, it's been like, I mean,
it was only really a Figaro Castle for the most part, where you're just like,
he's just like, I've got lackeys and they do what I say, but now he has an equal and he resents him for being an equal. He doesn't want to have anybody that does anything outside of what he says.
I would almost argue that he was beyond an equal, to be honest, because like Kefka could not do anything without his say. Like, it was only after he left that Kefka could initiate his plan of poisoning. So I feel like he was actually above Kefka, to be honest. Like, and that Kefka really resented that beyond anything.
And you go through this whole section where you're fighting Kefka and he keeps running away after you hit him like once. Is at this point in the game, is Kefka toying with you, or is he really that weak at this point? I couldn't tell.
I honestly can't tell. Like,
Julian,
I feel like he must have been toying, but I have no idea. He might have just been that weak.
See, that's the whole thing about, like, some people think Kefka's toying with you. It's very hard to tell because because how chaotic he is.
I'm gonna be honest, I feel like he was just that weak because, and I'll tell you why. I know it's kind of jumping ahead, but when we get to the triad portion, I mean, like, Celeste just straight up stabs him pretty easily and pretty quickly.
She does stab
and
him.
like he was seriously injured from that very simply. Like, I mean, it was only once he went into like the triad things that he was able to kind of protect, and he was able to use them, because if not, the king also could have just killed him.
Yeah,
like any of those magic attacks that the king throws at him would have killed him. Yeah, like, it's kind of implied that he only survived because he knew what would happen being in between the warring triad.
To counter that, there's like times where he does these crazy powerful things. Like, the whole reason he's able to beat the Emperor isn't because he's necessarily stronger than the Emperor, but because he's negated. Oh, because he used the warring.
Used the warring triad,
like that.
Because
negation.
He knew that by getting in between the three, no magic could hit him in that area.
Yeah.
But it shows that he was not that strong. Like, he was not overly strong. Like, the king could have killed him. I mean, Celis, at that point, appears to have been able to kill him. Like, the fact that she was able to seriously wound him just in a split second with a weapon, like, implies that he wasn't as strong as, like, he would become, I guess, later. Or that people think. Like, I feel like he wasn't toying with you so much as just he was that weak, but knew that this was a strategy. Because I feel like he's more conniving than anything, to be honest.
You know what? If I put another spin on it, maybe it didn't really matter if he was strong or weak, because I think what really bothered him was that somebody touched him. Because I don't think
someone dared to go against him.
When he got stabbed by Celis, he wasn't like panicking, like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna die."
No,
he was angry that he got hit, and I think when he's running away from these people, he just doesn't want to be hit. He doesn't want to feel pain. I don't know how that'll fit into the second half of the game, but I don't know. He's kind of interesting.
I don't know. I don't feel like he was like some unbeatable force against Sabin. Sure. Like, Sabin, I think, could have kicked his ass at that point.
He did suplex him in my gameplay. In my playthrough, he did suplex him, because I suplexed. I put that on auto attack and I never looked back. The other thing is Cyan. Cyan is here. And Cyan has something happen to him in this game that I was like, my jaw dropped. I was like, I can't believe they put this in the game. And this
was dark.
This is not what I was talking about when I said something evil happened that I've never seen in another game. So when you're playing in the Doma section, Cyan is really strong. He's beating up the Empire. When the place gets poisoned and somehow everybody magically drank water at the same time except for him, that was contrived. The entire
I'm sorry, except for
castle-
him, and the dude that warned him.
Yeah, but everybody else seemed to just really love toasting water for some reason, and they all died
just
at the same
happened
time.
to eat a bunch of saltines and were just
Hey.
dying of thirst.
Yeah, like, oh man,
Communal
there's-
tea time, you guys.
Yeah.
It's communal tea time.
it's
Like,
so
oh, it's 7 o'clock time.
Welcome to the annual convention of
yeah.
water.
Why is this tea purple? Don't ask questions.
Just drink tea.
This is a contrivance.
Well, see
This-
what you didn't understand was that they were all trying to get onto a spaceship that happened to be going by at the exact moment on a comet.
I didn't
Something-
I didn't know that Doma was in Waco, Texas. That's crazy. Okay.
A little did you know.
Well, the dark part that I'm talking about is like he goes into his room where his wife and his child are, and it's obviously a child, a sprite of a child, not like I'm a soldier. This is gonna be my first time, whatever. This was a kid.
No,
and
yeah,
she's,
I think
like,
it's supposed to be like
dies.
between a 5 to 10-year-old.
Yeah, and the kid dies in his arms. His child dies in his arms, and I was like,
Well, yeah,
oh
he had to have
my
dramatic
God.
irony, or
Yeah.
like what is it? Dramatic timing there.
Yeah,
Like-
we haven't seen anything this dark since Final Fantasy 2, and I was for it, if I'm being honest. 2 was when like
Yeah,
everybody was off the table. Anybody could die at any point.
2 was like people were rushing to their deaths.
Yeah, they couldn't wait to die. But this is the first
Like
time
they
in
were
a
setting
long
up
time
flags
it's been
left to
this
right.
dark.
Like
What about the
My only issue is-
what about the Vasidian people just lying on the floor dead? It's
eh.
Yeah, you know.
But
they
I
were
do ha-
anti-Semitic, so it was whatever.
Yeah, I do have an issue though with Cyan in general, because like, dude has like almost no character after this.
Nothing. He has this
Like
traumatic event happen
his
to him.
character,
He's-
his character is my family's dead. Like that's
And-
his character.
And then he says bye to them on the train, and now suddenly he's like silly because he gets flirted with at a bar at some point, and he like has a weird reaction to it. Like, your wife just died, dude.
Well, yeah, and it's not like, oh, it's, like he has like this introspective moment of
Basically,
like,
Zerlina.
I'm not ready for that kind of relationship. Like, I
I'm
see
over
what's
it.
going on, but like, no, like I still, am not over the death of my family and my wife. Like, no, he's just goofy
over it.
Todd. It's like,
I'm over it now.
okay,
It's so
like,
weird. It was such a
like
dark...
Cyan is it was such a good moment for him to like his introduction was so good, and then he just doesn't have a character for the rest of the game, or at least for the rest of the half that we've gone through.
I love using him because his Bushido attacks are so strong and they don't require any MP or resources or anything, so I like him. But you go so long without him that his level is super low compared to your others by the time you get him again.
Yeah, like
But-
most plot sections just ignore him.
Like Shadow.
Like the main plot ignores him pretty much completely. And that's, again, he's one of those characters like I was mentioning with Mog, the other one we kind of vaguely talked about, that just get put to the side. Like, it's just like, yep, they're there, but they're not really there. Like,
And then we also mentioned Boba Fett, Shadow, who's over here doing like...
yeah, who
He was such an interesting...
Another
such an
optional
interesting
character.
concept. Yeah, I think it's interesting as a concept because Shadow is a party member that you can lose. That you're-
randomly. Like,
Yeah, what'll happen is you're forced to get him for this section, and then later on down the road you can meet him in a couple different bars and hire him, and he'll do some fights with you and then leave after a while. So if you leave
also,
any-
you are not forced to get him for this section
for this part of the camp,
because the speedrun completely skips him.
oh, I don't know. I got him. I don't remember what I did or didn't
I mean,
do to get him.
it's advisable to get him, because like my guide told me to get him. Like, you just talk to him and you get him.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah,
Um,
you get him, and so you can fight with him and play with him for a while. If you give him equipment, he holds on to the equipment. It's really annoying. Where was Ninja introduced? Because
Ninja
If you
I don't think
like
it was
Shadow,
3.
save your guild to buy scrolls. Scrolls are so fucking powerful. You just use this throw command and
Yeah.
scroll everything. It's insane. They just fucking die to scrolls like crazy. Even at lower levels, when you get Shadow back later, if you got scrolls in your inventory, he's just gonna mop through people.
Yeah, I never personally used Shadow just because, like, he was such a randomness character of like, yeah, let me just do that. And it's like, nah, I have other consistent damage dealers that will wipe the floor with enemies. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need someone that can leave the party at any time.
I just bought scrolls, and anytime I had them, scroll. But yeah,
But
there's
he's
Shadow.
also one of those nothingness characters of like, he looks cool.
Yeah, in terms of
And-
story, nothing. It's got nothing.
Like, character-wise, he's like a mercenary. Why? Don't know. Like,
He got a cool dog though.
he's got a cool dog named Interceptor.
Interceptor.
And that's like, yeah, that's like all we know about him, at least going into the first half. I don't know what the second half holds. Hopefully more dialogue for him. But then again, he is also completely missable, because you can permanently lose access to him at a certain point of the game, which actually was the end point of this, or the stopping point.
We'll get
We'll
to
mention
that
it,
in
but-
not too far from here.
But because of that, I'm like curious to see if we actually do get more stuff with him, considering he could be like a party member you just don't have. So the game has to assume like different things on that one.
And then I think we got one more, two more party members. Okay, so we're gonna have to speed through this a little bit. Well, I guess we don't have to. So Kefka poisoned Doma. He committed genocide. Pierce said that's one thing that really irks me about RPGs, that you can recruit members to your party. Yeah, it's just I would like the gameplay to be more ingrained into the story rather than like it's sort of treated like an arcade. In his rage and despair, Cyan attacks the nearby Imperial camp alone. He's unable to catch Kefka, but meets Sabine and Shadow in their pursuit of the same goal. Sabine talks Cyan into abandoning his suicidal one-man assault, and Cyan joins Shadow and Sabine as they escape aboard the ghostly Phantom Train, which ferries the dead from the world of the living to the other side.
Yeah.
Cyan witnesses those who died at Doma, including his wife and child, as they board the train. We kind of went over all this stuff. The only thing really to mention is that you can suplex the train. It does not get you an achievement, which is a sin, but you absolutely can suplex the train in Final Fantasy VI. 10 out of 10.
It is also the most iconic moment in all of Final Fantasy VI.
All of Final Fantasy, let's get real.
Nah,
Not all of Final Fantasy, but all of
Final
6.
Fantasy fans have
people die in
never
Una
shut the
dances,
fuck up.
Julian. When will she stop
I
dancing?
said one of them, not the
You're a bad man.
I said one of them, not
You don't know yet.
um,
no yet. I'm Rashmon Rothenberg, Dalmasca.
but
God, we love
But no,
Final
like,
Fantasy
I-
so much.
I even have like artwork of Sabin just fucking suplexing a train. Like,
that's funny. I love suplexing stuff.
Yeah, but saving suplexing the train.
yeah, I'll have to find like the artwork I have of
It's
it and
iconic.
take a picture for
It's a
Discord.
constant Final Fantasy joke that no one ever shuts the fuck up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
iconic.
But the Phantom Train's also a reference to the Galactic Railway, which is a story about a train in space that ferries people to the dead
Yeah, I feel like
and like different afterlives.
Yeah,
Spoiler.
I feel like that concept is in mythology a lot, like the ferryman and all this stuff in various forms.
Yeah, but the Japanese just love that fucking
The old
specific
trains.
story. So
They love
so it was like, all right. And I do like the little scene with Cyan, like seeing his like kid and wife on there, and the kid's like, "I'm gonna grow up and protect mommy," and I'm like, "Well, you already failed, son." So
Yeah,
Well, hey Omni.
Yeah.
So how's it feel to have context for that now? For that scene in fucking 14?
for the train or what?
For the Phantom Train, since we fought the Phantom Train, and that essentially it follows it somewhat.
can you suplex the train in 14?
I
No.
don't believe so.
Oh.
No, there's no way.
That's fucking.
There's no way.
No,
Well,
but 'Cause at
Sabine
the
is
end
a
of the-
character in 14. When they
No,
had
no,
Sabine
no.
as DLC.
When you
They
beat
should
the
have
fi- no, no, no.
introduced him,
No,
and
well,
like
the thing-
that should have been like the final attack was like just a cutscene of Sabine coming in and grabbing the train and just suplexing it.
Oh, Jesus.
Even
Anyway.
without playing 6, I knew of the train meme before. So
Not the train meme. I'm talking about the context of like seeing the random like lady and the girl at the end of fucking at the end of the first fight.
Well, why'd they change the
No.
gender of his son?
I may have skipped that cut.
or was it son?
To be clear,
Sorry.
To be clear,
Like-
because I was paying attention for that. I don't think in the game they mentioned whether it was a boy or a girl. It was just a child.
It was a son.
But if we're reading the little thing here, what is it? Killing Science family. What did they say in the wiki? Owain, Owain. That's his kid's name.
It's his son, but because
Yeah.
Owen's a male name. But the fact of it is, like, they show that scene and essentially it's Final Fantasy 14 being tongue in cheek again, being like, ha ha ha. It's like, you understand this if you played the actual game. This is referencing. But it's like, oh, okay. And for some people, it's like, oh, that's neat. Thanks for that. I want to have emotion. Thanks for emotionally fucking making us go through that again. And then also,
I mean, it wasn't
and
that
also-
deep of an emotional scene.
also,
I'm gonna be honest. Like, it was a nice little emotional scene, but it wasn't like,
Science.
oh my god, I can't live through that scene again, Julian. Like,
Well, also,
it was like,
Also, a lot of
that's
the people
nice,
who-
and then you
a lot
just
of the
move on
people
with
I
your
know
day.
who played it were like children themselves. So back then it was emotional.
Oh, so they're just nostalgia boner. Got it.
Yeah. And then also like Science theme is also in fucking
Oh.
14 as Heian's theme. part of Heian's and fucking the theme of Doma.
So I'll read this really quick because I was in the wiki. Look, it is his son. Owain is his son.
Yeah.
In Final Fantasy XIV, Lord Heian, the current heir to Doma, had the name Shun in his childhood. His parents were named Mina and Kaien. These names refer to the Japanese names of Owain, Elaine, and Cyan, respectively. In Final Fantasy XIV Sigmascape, after the party defeated the Phantom Train, two souls appeared before the Warrior of Light and say, "Traveler from afar, thank you for Doma." They look like Elaine and Owain from Final Fantasy VI, but don't have anything to do with Kaien and Heian of Final Fantasy XIV, since these souls were actually a recreation by Omega from their original world. So
Yeah,
there's your
it's
first
okay,
name.
so yeah.
it was a tongue in
That's
like
pretty
I said,
cool.
tongue-in-cheek moment where they brought them up. It's like
Yeah,
get
it is a nice
That's-
reference that, like, even like the family was the Japanese names of, like, Cyan and all of them.
Yeah, 14 loves love references.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
they love their Final Fantasy lore.
After the party escapes the train, Shadow takes his leave as Sabine and Cyan leap down barren falls to the town of Mobley's. On the nearby veldt, a vast plain filled with beasts, they befriend a feral child named Gao, who shows them the way to a diving helmet. Using the device to brave the currents of the Serpent Trents, Sabine, Cyan, and Gao reach the city of Nicaea, where they board a ferry bound for South Figaro so that they may rendezvous with Sabine's companions at Narsh. I don't really have anything to say with Gao other than he's an excuse to add this gameplay element. I really don't care for Gao at all.
Gao he's another no character. Like, he has nothing other than he is the wild boy Tarzan type character, and I honestly don't like his gameplay at all. So I don't use him. Period.
I like Gao.
Like, I will use him enough for the trophy, and that is beyond that. I don't care.
Some of his stuff is very powerful, but I don't have the patience to figure them out and do
Like,
all that shit.
I'm not gonna look through enough guides and things like that to figure out like what's useful, what's not. Considering like he just does moves from enemies essentially.
Whenever a character
like-
speaks in gobbledygook, I stop paying attention, and I can't stand it.
But he does have the magical power to let all three men use one diving mask.
Magic, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
man.
Like,
Magic. It doesn't need to be explained.
yeah. I just love that. You find like one diving helmet, it's like, oh yes, this is good enough for all three of us. Let's go.
that whole sequence where they're traveling underwater is crazy because you're just traveling at such high speeds. I feel like their bones would be crushed. But
well, yeah, because like you feel like they were supposed to originally find like a sub or something like that, based on the fact that all three of them can fit in it, and the fact of how fast you're going through that fucking waterway. But and that you have any control over a path that you're choosing.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. But then again, so many things don't.
Yeah.
So now we're starting to get to the good stuff now that most of the party has been assembled. So Terra, Bannon, and Edgar arrive at Narsh and rendezvous with Arvis. The four urge the Elder of Narsh to join the side of the Returners' resistance, arguing that the Esper in the nearby mines will continue to draw hostile Imperial attention. The others arrive, and Celis informs those assembled that the Empire is already marching on Narsh. The Returners hurry into the mountains to defend the Esper's resting place as Kefka leads an attack to claim the creature for the Empire. Defeating the Imperial forces, the Returners save the town. However, Kefka escapes. The heroes approach the Esper at the current location on the cliffs above Narsh, but it again reacts to Terra's presence with an outpouring of energy. Terra transforms into a glowing pink monster, and she levitates into the sky with a piercing scream. Terra flies away, leaving the rest of the party behind to wonder at her sudden metamorphosis. So yeah, a lot happened there. The party gets together. Terra has a very large character change, and Kefka is sent running with his tail between his legs. I don't have a lot to say about this section other than I do like the presentation of it. I do think the Elders of Narsh are, again, huge assholes. But otherwise, it just felt like getting from point A to point B for me. Did you guys have any thoughts about getting the whole party together?
It wasn't all that spectacular because, again, most of the characters don't have enough character to really interact with people. So, like, Gao and Cyan, they're just kind of like, yeah, they're here. And then they kind of shove off to the side so that the adults can talk. And, like, it's just kind of one of those things that I'm like, yeah, getting the party together didn't really feel that special. I'm hoping that maybe going into, like, the second half of the game, it'll feel a little more special, but...
Yeah, something that they figured out later in 7 and 8 is with this party, there really is no camaraderie. There's no real payoff for them all being together. Some of the relationships are a little bit stronger between one or two people, but honestly, the only two people that are really close are Celis and Locke.
Yeah, and then Edgar and Sabin.
Because
I wouldn't even argue those two are really close, and they're literally twin brothers.
They're close enough,
but they don't do anything. They don't have any interactions together or drama together.
It's
it's one of those. Like, I feel like the writing I feel like the character writing is not very strong in this game. If I'm gonna be honest,
at least not yet.
That's one of my biggest complaints with the plot so far is that the character writing is just like, yeah, these characters interact in the most basic ways possible.
Yeah, because they're too busy telling the narrative to actually give any characters.
Again, this game is very story focused and less character focused, which is
and then,
some of the characters can be interesting.
It's like the fact that no one questions, like, wait, did Sabin pick up an orphan and just drag him along in this?
Oh yeah, nobody's really pointed out that they took Gao. I mean, he's just there.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's just supposed to be like that off screen. They were like, yeah, we found this wild boy. He helped us.
So we took him.
I mean, it's not like he has a family anyway. Like,
and at
he
any
was living out on the fucking Vel Plain. Like,
I mean, what is this, Stardust Crusaders? We can just kidnap orphans and not give a shit about it?
Yeah.
They're not. You can't kidnap an orphan. They don't have a family.
We just take an orphan with us for no reason except for the fact that they're an orphan.
I'm glad Scott never became a lawyer.
Like, that's a legal defense right there.
I mean, there's a lot of things I'm glad Scott isn't.
That's probably for the best. But no, like, yeah, it's just one of those things of, like, I don't know, there's not character writing between these characters. Like, a lot of their interactions are just, hey, I did this. Okay, cool. That will help us to do this. And it's like, there's not like they feel like they're just there to move the plot along and not be the characters that they should be. It bugs me because to your point before, there's a lot they could do with some of these characters. Like even Cyan, they set him up perfectly to be this like deeper character when we're introduced to him, and then he's just a nothing burger.
Yep. This feels very much like the cinematic part of Final Fantasy 13, where it's like a lot of point A to point B, no real character. We're presenting the story that we want to present for the sake of doing it. That everything else is sort of like ancillary.
And the characters just act like actors more than like people or characters.
But yeah, the party's together. And up until they're not, because Terra leaves, and once again, it's like, who's the star of this game? Apparently, it's Locke. So, several of the returners remain to protect Narsh, while the search party heads to the west to find Terra, using Figaro Castle to burrow under the mountains of Kolingen. They continued south to Jidor, then to Zozo, a town of thieves. That Zozo place was... I'm so glad I had a guide, because if I had to fight another one of those fucking giants... I would have lost my goddamn mind. Those things were so unnecessary. Like, everything else was doable, but those giants were so strong for no reason.
Yeah. There's a few points in this game where, like, some of the enemies are stronger than they probably... Like, where you get one enemy that's just, like, stronger than they probably should be in this area, but they keep popping up all the fucking time, instead of, like, being a rare encounter.
Yeah, I did enjoy the ambiance of Zozo. It felt very cyberpunky, very noir to me. I did like.
It was really cool. I liked going up the tower.
Yeah, the tower
I thought that was kind of neat, like jumping between the towers and stuff like that.
If we were a full party of machinists, I would just be playing the cyberpunk theme song the whole time.
Jesus.
Okay, so atop the highest building, the group finds a transformed Terra under the care of the Esper Rama. Rama tells the party about the War of the Magi and the Imperial invasion of their realm. He explains that he called Terra to him when her powers awoke, as he sensed she had lost control. Rama relates that he escaped the Empire with 3 comrades, Espers, who fell in battle and transformed into a substance called Magicite. Rama says the Empire's methods of forcibly extracting magic from the Espers results in a weaker form of magic, but when an Esper dies and crystallizes into Magicite, their abilities can be transferred in full. He insists that Terra needs to accept her powers, but Rama urges the party to rescue the other Espers in the Imperial capital. Finally, Rama turns himself into Magicite, entrusting the returners with his power, and the power of his fallen friends to fight the Empire. So this part of the plot is where a lot of things congeal and form and send us on a direction. We now have we now have agency, right? We know what Terra is. We know that there are ways to add magic to our team. We understand the stakes of saving this other world, and we have a goal. We need to go to the Empire, break in, Ocean's 11 style, and steal all the Espers back, so that the Empire can't figure out that they got to murder them to be strong. I did like this turn. I felt it was a little contrived again, because it just so happened that Rama was here and was able to give us a huge lore dump. But overall, I did like this turn in the story to get us to the next part of the story. How did you guys feel about this whole event?
It was fine. Like, not
I'm gonna be honest. It essentially
great, but
it's like, oh, so why is Terra here again? So why is Terra here again?
well, I mean, she kind of,
He just called her.
Like,
he was like,
he summoned.
Resonates.
Yeah, like
No. That's not what I meant. Essentially, like, so why should we keep her in the party now that everybody can use magic?
well,
Oh,
because she's still half Esper, which is still like a thing.
yeah, I tried using
like,
her
that's
ability.
still
I
kind
could
of
not
a
get
big
it to work.
thing.
It was a weird ability. I do love classic Blizzard.
It makes her extremely powerful, but
in most fights,
because
I would have
it doubles everything she does, like damage wise, is what it does.
Can I tell you what I was doing? Once I had, up until that point, I was just using her as magic. as a magic caster.
Well, that's pretty much all she is. Like,
Yeah, and she was very strong, and and once we got the Magicite and I could unlock other spells with her, I never did her thing. I just cast Blizzara and Fyra and Thundara, and I was pretty set up with that. I didn't really dive too deep into her power.
I do also feel like she felt not super powerful until you can actually get Magicite, because until then she's very limited on spells.
She just basically does Blizzard. I didn't even use her for Cure. I just used potions, but Blizzard is what I just kept having her do.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things that, like, once you get Magicite, she opens up a lot more, but so do a lot of other characters, because anyone can now be the mage. Like, I don't know, I use Terra basically as a white mage, but we'll get more into that with the later when we talk about gameplay. But yeah, like, as far as this portion of the plot, like, it was fine. I liked at least finding out a little bit more about the War of the Magi, and, like, you know, seeing some of the Espers and finally getting some Magicite, so that, like, other characters can start kind of gaining things.
Yeah, just getting,
because that was the other thing.
Was helpful.
Yeah, because that was the other thing we didn't talk about too, was, like, stats are connected to that Magicite, so you're not gaining a lot of stats until you start getting Magicite. So character level ups, all you're gonna get is HP and MP, and that is it until you get Magicite on character.
I haven't looked too deep into it, but all that I knew was I didn't want to level up too much because I wanted to wait for the Magicite.
Yeah, it is that you will just gain MP and HP. That is all you'll gain without Magicite.
That's fun. All right.
So it does make equipment really useful in this game, though. I'll give them on that.
Yeah, I love shields. Shields are so good.
Shields are great. But yeah, plot wise, it's perfectly fine for this portion.
All right. So Celis, not Terra, leads the expedition with Locke accompanying her as no boats go to the southern continent. The group returns to Gidor.
You know, remember the main character?
Yeah.
Well,
sure, yeah, it feels like it.
Tell us now.
They meet the impresario who worries Setzer Gabbiani, the wandering gambler, will abduct Maria, and the star of the opera Maria and Drake Draco. Setzer owns the only private airship in the world, the Blackjack. Since Celis bears an uncanny resemblance to Maria, Locke hatches a plan for her to take Maria's place in the opera as a ploy to gain access to Setzer's ship. Ultros overhears this plan, and during the performance attempts to drop a weight on Celis. Locke and the others stop him. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, his plan, he has my favorite line of dialogue I've seen in this game, though, with that plan, because it's just like, yeah, this weight is kind of heavy. It will take me exactly 5 minutes to push this weight. And I'm like...
it's so fucking Looney Tunes.
I just love that. Like, that was my favorite line of dialogue in this game so far, was that, like, man, this is kind of heavy. It's going to take me exactly 5 minutes to push this thing down. I'm like, all right.
Right?
So I just wanted to mention that real quick because I just love that line of dialogue.
Where was I? Locke and the others stop him, but the show is ruined, and in the commotion, Setzer abducts Celis. Celis helps Locke and the others sneak on board to the Blackjack and tricks Setzer into helping them using a two-headed coin. Setzer flies the group to Albrook, and they set off north of the imperial capital of Vector. With the help of a returner sympathizer, they sneak into the Magitech research facility, where Magitech weapons are manufactured. Witnessing Kefka torturing two Espers, Shiva and Ifrit, they overhear him declare he will revive the warring triad. Shiva and Ifrit entrust their Magicite to the group, and they continue to the facility and release several Espers being drained of their power. Alright, so we'll pause there and let's discuss the opera, I guess. Right now, I'm playing the opera song.
Which version?
The no vocals, because it's the only one that's here in the...
Because for anyone that doesn't know, the song changes based on what language you have the audio on, or what language you have, the text on. It does change the vocals. So there's one correct language that the opera should be on, and that is Italian.
And that's the Monster Hunter
because
language.
operas should be in Italian. Like that's just kind of like how it, like what sounds the best personally.
Oh, it's also Italian. Aria di mezzo carattere.
But yeah, like the opera is really nice. Like I actually enjoy the whole scene. You're also supposed to say Setzer, like Setzer.
What? Why? How? Where did that come from?
Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom
Oh,
Hearts
fuck that.
2. But yeah, like it's a really
This-
cool little scene.
Yeah, they put a lot of effort and a lot of work into this particular scene. It's very obvious that this was super important to them. It's got its own what is it, like lyricked song. It's got camera angles we haven't seen before, probably in any Final Fantasy game.
Yeah,
And-
it's a full-on cutscene for the game. Like,
And it sort of speaks to how Celis and Locke are feeling in their relationship at this point, wherein they're longing for each other, but for various reasons they stop themselves from going to each other, and they're blaming it on outside influences, but when should they decide to, they could be together, is what I got out of this particular song.
yeah, it's really nice. Like, and it's also one of the more memorable parts of Final Fantasy VI for a lot of people. From what I can understand, like the opera and like the suplexing the train are pretty much like the two parts, other than maybe Kefka's laugh, that people know of from this game.
Yeah, you can see why this scene is iconic in like the world of Final Fantasy. Did it make me cry? No. The 8 song and the Rebirth song are much more powerful, but this is very good for what it is. And the reason why this song probably didn't make me cry is because we did get some good character development between Locke and Celis up to this point, but it wasn't great. We needed more.
No,
We absolutely needed more.
it was all they were pretty much doing before this was like hinting at things and stuff like that. Again, if these characters had been more character, they would have probably, like, honestly, Ultros has more character than a lot of our main cast.
Some of these characters, yeah.
Like,
So funny.
and it's like, it's sad when Ultros has more character than like half of our cast.
Then Gao and Cyan.
Gao, Mog,
Setzer,
Cyan,
Mog, yeah.
Setzer,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just one of those things that, like, as much as I love the opera scene, it would have had more of an impact, to your point, if, like, we had more, like, character interactions between Locke and Celeste.
Yeah.
But we just didn't.
Music works better as an enhancement of things that are said or unsaid. So like in 8, the Eyes on You song, it's amplifying the sort of awkwardness and the hesitation between Squall and Renoa. In Rebirth, the song is a very much a goodbye that Aerith is saying to all of her friends and all the people she met along the way. They amplify things that were already there, and this song didn't really get the chance to do that because we didn't get to establish too much. We get more of more character development after the song than we do before the song because there's drama and there's conflict, but up until this point it's just sort of like awkward teasing, which again, he's 25 and she's 18, so I don't feel too great about that, but I mean, like, whatever, it's fine. There's like 5-6 years.
Yeah, it's at least not
7
like
years.
Oh, horrible, like, oh my god, that's a big age gap.
But yeah, and then also we get introduced to Setzer. I have no thoughts on Setzer. I have not used him. He's very much a caricature. I don't know. Do you guys have strong feelings on Setzer?
Setzer, I think he's fun for what he is in the gambler type thing, like, archetype. As far as, like, his quote-unquote personality, I think it's fine, but in the terms of the plot, he's just a dude with an airship that they need to use.
Yep.
Like, that's his entire purpose for even being in the party, is just, we need his airship, and we don't want to kill him. Like, that's pretty much it.
He by the time we get to the stopping point, we do get a little bit more of him, that he had his rival friend. They may or may not have been romantic interests, but I mean, I'm assuming we're gonna go to space or some shit, because he was like, me and her were rivals to make the fastest airship in the world, and one day she disappeared. I'm like, oh well, I guess we're gonna go to space or something. I don't know.
I don't even remember that dialogue.
Yeah, him and this lady that was like the other airship person in the world. That's why he's sort of chasing her, or why he became a gambler, because he sort of like lost his focus.
I don't even remember that dialogue. I'm gonna be honest.
Yep.
But it's like, yeah, like Setzer is just, again, he doesn't have any real importance on the plot other than he pilots the airship.
So
like that.
I hope we get more out of him. Because we're not gonna have Chekhov's airship and not have it come back later. So we'll probably get a faster airship or something when his girlfriend arrives or whatever she is.
Well, it's Final Fantasy. You always need some kind of like upgrade to an airship. Like that's how every one of these fucking things go.
If we're not time traveling, we're going into space. And before you say like, no, that's not true, Clive fought in 16. Ifrit fought Bahamut in the atmosphere. Okay, so don't give me that shit. Did. Final Fantasy is always in space or time traveling. It's just weird like that. All right,
it's how it works.
Yeah,
I don't make the rules.
I love it for that. Julian, any thoughts on Setzer or this section? Did we lose Julian?
I was muted because I was drinking something. Meh.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I guess you're over the opera at this point.
Yeah. It's like, it was nice, but I didn't really appreciate it.
All right, so after their efforts are in vain, as the Espers are too weak to survive. Instead, the Espers transform into Magicite, granting their magical power to the party. The Imperial Magicite researcher Sid, who this Sid is once again a reflection of 5 Sid, where he's just like a dude that made things worse by existing. Yeah. What a fuck. Arrives and tells Celes the rumor, and tells Celes the... That's a weird... Sid arrives and tells Celes the rumors that she is acting as a spy for the Empire. Kefka appears and claims the rumors are true. Locke begins to doubt her, and Celes teleports herself and Kefka away as the facility begins to overload. Sid helps the party escape on a minecart, and they meet with Setzer and return to Zozo, destroying 2 cranes Kefka used to try to destroy the Blackjack. So now we can fly around, I guess.
Yeah.
Sid is a weird character in this game so far. He seems like another like Imperial lapdog douchebag who is just like in the wrong place at the wrong time. I hate that version of Sid. I prefer Noble Sid.
Yeah. It's the version of Sid of like, oh, he just wanted somewhere he could do research without limitations, and that ended up being the evil people because they didn't care about limitations and, human rights or anything. And that was pretty much aligned with Sid, and I'm like, that's not quite the Sid I want, to your point. Like,
I don't like that Sid.
That's not, like, where he's just like, oh, you mean all these, like, evil things we were doing were evil things? Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I thought we were just forcibly ripping the life force of one creature and shoving it into another. I thought we were doing good.
Like, I thought that these creatures weren't being harmed by that. Like, as we threw them in the garbage chute,
we
like,
made
damn!
The Billy Bass, and you look over, it's like genocide.
Like, I didn't know Soylent Green was people, and even though I saw all the people go into the damn blender when they made it.
Yeah, and he's just like he's like chugging the Soylent Green. Oh, no.
Yeah, you mean to tell me when they went in the blender they died? Fuck! That what have I been doing?
Yeah. My bad. Yikes! Yikes forever.
Like, don't worry. I said I'm sorry now and decided to work with the other people.
Yeah.
This leaves you of all wrongdoing. Yay!
Whoops,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So, moving on. In Zozo, one of the Magicite remains the party acquired from the Magitech research facility is revealed to be that of Terra's father, Maduin, who restores her memories. Terra explains she is a half-human and half-Esper born from a human named Madeline, who had entered the Esper realm and befriended Maduin. When the Empire attacked 2 years later, Terra was taken along with Maduin and raised as a Magitech experiment due to her natural magic powers. Now accepting who she is, Terra and the party return to Narsh and tell the others of their plan to attack the Empire using the machinery of Figaro and the resources of Narsh, but they lack manpower. They decide to open the gate to the Esper world and ask for their help as a hybrid. As a hybrid, Terra is living proof that two races can coexist peacefully. She exists as a symbol of hope. That part I made up. Soon after, they go to Narsh and rescue a Moogle named Mog. At the gate to the Esper world, Kefka appears as Terra begins to call out to the Espers. Her cries open the gate and Espers rush out, decimating Vector and crashing the Blackjack. In the Imperial Palace, Emperor Gestel tells the party that Esper's power has made him realize the error of his ways. He declares a truce and asks returners and Terra to help him locate the Espers and fled the gate to make them understand the war is over. I do want to talk about a couple things from that section. One, this is pointing out what I said earlier. They're using like non-combat, non-agency to character switches to tell story. So we do a flashback to where you control Maduin. It's jumping back and it's like, you know, doing big time jumps, but that's where we sort of get a look at what the Esper world is and what all these creatures look like and how they feel about humans if you talk to the NPCs. But you don't do anything there. You just walk from point A to point B talking to people and just move along. I liked it, but again, it's starting that trend of, you know, story for the sake of story.
Yeah, this could have all been a cutscene.
Very much so. But in gaming, this was a risk, right? Because in gaming, you have to take agency. You have to have the characters do stuff. You can't just tell them everything. But whether or not it's fun to do or the best way to do it, you won't know until you put the game out there.
It also.
Oh, go ahead.
They also just decided to make everything worse by actually going and trying to get the Esper's help and opening up the door to the place that the Emperor wanted them to go, or like wanted to go to. Hence why Ramuh sealed the door.
Yeah, it was a really boneheaded move.
Like, let's see. Like, we can technically defeat this guy, but if we go ask the Espers and open up the door that we found out from Terra was sealed because they wanted to keep these people out, then yeah, that won't cause any issues whatsoever. We're not playing right into the people's hands and giving the people or the enemies exactly what they want that will make them more powerful, because they're clearly not turning all of these creatures into Magicite.
It's a half-baked plan, and in their defense, which it's very easy to poke holes in. They wanted to create harmony between Espers. Like, they wanted to use Esper's power without forcing them the way that the Empire.
They should have just
when they could have just left them alone. The Emperor doesn't have Magicite anymore. We have Magicite. We literally could give Magicite to our other people in the Returners and have them practice and get magic powers.
Even that they are literally the only people with Magicite currently.
Yeah.
Before they opened that door, like, they were the only people that had Magicite.
They really didn't need to go down this road, but they did.
No, if you're gonna unseal the door, do it after you kill the Emperor and everything's like peaceful, and be like, okay, now we want to try and coexist with the Espers again. Instead of being like, you know what, we want to use the Espers for war, so we need to go open the door and convince the Espers like we convinced this confused child that's half Esper
to go to war. But
like,
yeah,
you know, the correct side.
After that, and the Espers start destroying the world, the Empire does this very obvious ploy to trick you.
What? No.
I didn't know, because you skip cutscenes, so you might not have known this, Scott.
I don't skip cutscenes.
In 14.
Oh, 14.
In 14. This banquet was basically done in 14. I was always wondering, like, why did they have this tent conversation like this? This is really stupid. And I was like, oh, it's a reference to 6. You finally in Stormblood you talk to the Emperor and have like a dialogue where you guys can't convince each other to either relent or be submissive or whatever. But
I recently rewatched that cutscene, and it's essentially just all the people berating him. It's like, these aren't peace talks. You're just berating him.
Yeah, it was really dumb, and his whole thing is like, if you guys truly want peace, all you got to do is submit. Like, just don't fight me. Let me get what I want. And it's like, well, what you want is to make us subservient to the Empire. And no offense, the Empire really hates us.
And also go along with the Ascian's plan of the rejoining of all the worlds, but no.
to destroy us, and then the Empire is real. I don't know if you remember this from going into the Empire, Endwalker, but they're all real racist towards anybody that's not doesn't have a jewel in their forehead or a third eye in their forehead. So, yeah, probably not the best idea to do that. And the Emperor was just like a huge douchebag about it. But that's 14, and he's dead. So, much like this Emperor is soon to be. They have truce talks. Terra and Locke accompany General Leo to Chris, who Leo's the tolerant
relatively
relatively
decent person,
to Crescent Island to track the Espers. To assist with the efforts, Leo has hired Shadow. Celis accompanies them as well, acting as an Imperial general. When approached, she refuses to speak to Locke or Terra due to their earlier suspicion of her true motives. At Crescent Island, Terra, Locke, and Shadow split from the Empire and find the backwater town of Tamasa, where Strago and his granddaughter Realm feign having... I forgot we had to talk about these guys too.
Yeah.
Feign having no knowledge of Espers or magic. God, can you imagine trying to do this whole game in 1 month? And Strago and his granddaughter Realm feign having no knowledge of Espers or magic. Realm gets trapped in a burning building, and the townspeople reveal they can use magic when trying to put the fire out. Terra, Locke, and Strago enter the building to save her and are rescued by Shadow, who has come to get his dog Interceptor and then follow them inside. Strago explains Tommaso was founded by magic-imbued humans after the War of the Magi, who sought to live normal lives, and as their descendants, the townsfolk have some magical power. Strago agrees to help Terra and Locke locate the Espers, and the Realm wishes to help too. Strago refuses. Shadow leaves to find the Espers on his own with Interceptor. At the Esper Caves, a third run-in with Ultros. I can't believe there was only 3. I thought it was more than that.
No, it just feels like it.
Yeah, prompts Realm to intervene and save the party with her ability to sketch living portraits of monsters.
Pictomancer
agrees to let her join them. The group finds the Espers led by Yura, now apologetic about the destruction of Vector as they lost control of their powers when passing through the gate between the realms. In Tamasa, General Leo and Yura reach a truce, but Kefka arrives and kills the Espers, takes their Magicite shards, and knocks out the party, claiming he's acting under the Emperor's orders. When Leo tries to stop him, Kefka kills him. And I might as well just read through the end because we're about to reach the stopping point. The gate to the Esper world flies open, and several Espers race to attack Kefka, but he destroys them and takes their Magicite shards before departing. Alerted to the Empire's treachery, Setzer and the other returners, sans Bannon, who sucks, arrive at Tamasa in the Blackjack.
You don't see him ever again, at least in this half.
Kefka and Gestalt enter the Esper realm and find the remaining warring triad, the remains of the warring triad, and use their powers to raise the floating continent, which was a cool cutscene. I did like that cutscene.
Yeah.
The returners board the floating continent, fighting the Imperial Air Force as well as Ultros and his friend Mr. Typhon. Remind me about this fight, because I want to get back to this. They find Shadow, who had kept working for the Empire until they tried to kill him. After a battle with the legendary Ultima weapon, Shadow departs as the returners confront Kefka and Gestalt before the warring triad. Celis arrives as Gestalt paralyzes the party, and he and Kefka urge Celis to return to their side and kill our friends so the three of them can rule the world. Celis refuses and stabs Kefka. Kefka attempts to awaken the Triad, and Gestalt, knowing this would lead to a disaster, tries to stop him but is struck down. Kefka kicks Gestalt off the floating continent to his doom and moves the statues out of alignment. Celis warns him that the Triad's powers will go haywire, but Kefka laughs it off. With Shadow's assistance, the party flees to the Blackjack, but the warring Triad's magical field has been destabilized and radically shifted the face of the planet. The Blackjack is destroyed and the party is scattered around the world. And that's the stopping point. There's a lot to go over. I rushed through a lot of stuff. We'll sort of go through these bullet points real quick. How do you feel about the Blue Mage and the Pictomancer? I can't stand Trago. I like Realm.
I think they're both fine. To me, they're both nothing. I
fucking hate Blue Mage.
I don't think they have any real major personality, other than Realm is just a child.
And Strago's old.
And Strago's old. Strago just keeps being no, you can't go along. And then she's like, I'm going to do it anyway. And he's like, all right, well, I tried to tell you no. So, okay. That's pretty much most of the interactions with them. I liked when she was convincing Ultros to do a picture, and then she's just like, "Well, if I don't do a picture of you, I'm just gonna commit suicide." And he's like, "All right, you Uncle Ultros, will let you draw his picture and stuff." And I'm just like,
Really
I did enjoy that scene. Like, I personally love Ultros. I think his scenes are fun. Like, and it's a little bit of lightheartedness in kind of a darker game. But the other thing is, too, I just feel like he has more personality again than most of the cast, so I enjoy seeing a character with personality on screen versus, like, man, I have to say whatever will drive the plot along.
Yeah, just somebody who says something because
Like-
that's their character.
Yeah.
You mentioned something that this is a darker place. I forgot to mention it when we were with Sabine traveling the world. There's a town, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and explain the dark thing that I've never seen in another game. Maybe you've seen it in another, and you can enlighten me. When you're traveling through the towns and you're seeing that the Empire has occupied several of them, in one of them, in the middle of the square, in the middle of the town, there's soldiers who are allowing and participating in dogfighting. You can see people dogfighting in the fucking town out in the open. That was crazy to me. Can you believe that in Final Fantasy we got dogfighting? That you don't even see that shit in GTA. Like, why were they that's so evil. They were fucking
To show how evil they were.
That was so crazy. I can't think of another game where I've seen dogfighting in there.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't think of another one unless it's like, you play as a dog fighting another, but like actual organized dog fighting. No, I can't think of another game.
It's crazy how evil the Empire
There might be
is.
another one, but it's not very many.
Yeah, it's because nobody wants to go down that road. I mean, dogs are kind of sacred. You don't want to. It's bad enough that people want to. If you make a game where you're not allowed to pet the dog, is bad enough. But to actively have the villains organized dog fighting, that's
people love this game, Omni. People love the dog fighting.
That's crazy to me. That's so evil. This Empire. I knew the Empire was evil when I saw that. I was like, this is so outrageous.
It's like I knew they were evil, but Jesus Christ!
Yeah, they had dogfighting.
I didn't know they were that evil.
They might as well be putting babies.
The genocide I can handle, but like, holy fuck! I draw the line at dogfighting.
Yeah, child death and fucking dogfighting was crazy. I was like,
yeah, because
wow.
I know like Far Cry 6 has cockfighting, but
yes. But I'm Mexican,
but
so
not
that didn't bother me
dogfight.
that much.
Yeah. But even then, like it's to your point. Like dogs are a little more sacred, as far as people are concerned. Like so people don't do that one.
I was playing with the top.
But yeah, so it is interesting that like
it's crazy.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, there's a town like right in the middle of there's just dogfighting. I was like, this is crazy. This is so evil.
So about that Ultros and Typhon fight.
Oh yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to say before I go into my thing?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. We've established that,
nothing we can't talk about later.
Yeah, we've established that Final Fantasy loves to repeat ideas or themes, like the heroine who, like the selfless heroine to a fault. The dragoon, the insufferable dragoon. A fucking not punishing war crimes because they're the good guys. This was the first time we got to see the battle in the sky, because Final Fantasy VIII has the battle at the school. Final Fantasy X has where they're riding down to save Yuna from the what do you call it? The wedding
from the creepy old man.
Final Fantasy 16 has the intro. Well, has a lot of fighting in the sky. But the big one is Bahamut. This is where we start the trend of the party. Oh, if 13 has them when they're attacking the main city in the climax of the game. Like, this is the first time we see the trope of the Battle in the Sky for Final Fantasy, and I thought that was really cool because they did it really well for a pixel remaster. You just go from fight to fight to fight. The background changes, you know, not too much, but you do get very interesting battle scenes. There's dialogue in the middle of it. You do get a chance to heal. I thought it was really cool. I like that a lot, and I like that trope a lot because very few games have that Battle in the Sky trope, which I enjoy.
I also like that you can slowly see Typhon like popping up from the bottom.
Yeah, he's just like casually floating underneath the ship.
Okay. I do love that.
But yeah, I love that. I can't. I'm so happy to be a part of this where we get to see that trope start because I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
What else? I haven't played 9 or 12.
I also had to
so
redo that fucking fight because I killed the stupid airship thing that you have to fight
for the bestiary.
Yeah, the bit didn't pop out in time, so I had to redo that. I'm like, well, that sucked. I mean, luckily it wasn't that bad of a fight. Like, it was only like 3-4 fights, then the Ultros Typhon, and then that thing. But I am playing with boosts, so I am over leveled as shit right now.
Yeah, I'm not
for
playing
the
with,
characters
I'm
I'm
not
using.
playing with boosts, except for one, but I'll explain that one in a bit. I'm playing
But
straight.
we'll talk about more about that when we, I guess, talk about gameplay.
And then after the fight, you land on the continent, the floating continent, which is filled with super tough enemies.
I fucking hate the behemoths.
I did this area to get the bestiary entries, and then I turned on the boost for no random encounters because it was too much. I was trying to do it without the boost stuff.
Which enemy gave you the most issues?
There's only one that really gave me an issue. The other ones either I was prepped for or I could get by, but it's the head that throws out spells, because I don't know if it happened to you because you might have been overpowered, so you didn't experience it, but
no, I had a different issue I'll tell you about in a minute.
Okay, I would just run from the fights, right? I would run, and the way that the running system is that you don't all flee together. You just hold 2 buttons until all 4 of your party members run away.
Do you not use smoke bombs?
No, I don't use smoke bombs. I forgot to buy anything before. So I went in with just like what I had before previously.
Okay, because I was gonna say if you have smoke bombs, like, it's not bad.
Yeah, well, here's the part that makes it difficult. There's a spell that those heads cast where they lock you into a berserk mode for like 2 or 3 turns. And so what would happen is my whole party was escaped except for one person. One of those heads would cast the berserk, and I couldn't do anything. I had no options to move, right?
Right.
And then they would lock a person that was strong, like for one of my stronger party members. And so another enemy heals you with one of their things because they're doing like a backwards attack because of zombification. So if zombification doesn't land, they're just healing you the whole time. So everything was hitting me, and then that thing would heal me until it died because you were getting health from its health. And then when it died, everything would slowly kill you because they would those stupid heads would keep recasting that berserk thing. So I'd be stuck doing nothing for like 7 real world minutes, and I was like, this can't stand. I'm not gonna quit. Like, I can't go back and get things. So I just have to turn off random encounters. I already got the bestiary entries. Then I just ran through the dungeon after that. But if it wasn't for that, it would have been no boost for Papa Jam so far.
Yeah, no, my issue was a completely different issue. I didn't run into the fucking heads.
Ever?
I had to grind for 20 minutes to encounter one of them in order to get it for the bestiary. Like, I was standing in front of like Ultima Weapon for like 20 minutes trying to get encounters because almost every encounter was behemoths or dragon.
Dude,
the dragon was so annoying because, like, if I was trying to kill it, it would just use snort repeatedly until it kicked everyone out of the party anyway, and I'm like, okay, well, that was a waste of time.
I'm gonna be honest, I was sitting there wondering what the hell Omni.
But like the heads, I only ran into them, like, because I know the enemy only because I had to try and hunt the fucking thing down. Like, I wasn't even sure it existed on the floating continent. Like, dude, I'm like, is it in a specific area of the floating continent? Like, I had to look it up in other people talking about it.
It's called the brain pan,
yeah.
Julian. I have it on my
because I was trying so hard to find that enemy. Dude, because I would have, like, I wanted to turn encounters off so bad because I got so annoyed with the behemoths and with the dragons that I'm just like, I want to turn off encounters, but I can't because I'm missing a fucking bestiary.
Nah, dude, I was like an NBA player in a strip club in Atlanta. I couldn't stop getting head. It was just over and over and over.
It's amazing how the RNG tables can work with that. Because like you're sitting there like drowning in it, and I'm like, I just need one for the fucking bestiary. Like,
it was a problem
like,
for me. I was so frustrated.
But yeah, so no, it wasn't because I was over leveled. It was just I never ran into them. Like in that situation. When I ran into them, I found them annoying as shit. But I just only ran into them the one time.
Yeah, I never ran into them at all.
That's crazy. I ran into them. So wait, does it say how many I killed in the bestiary?
Maybe.
I ran into the behemoth once and a dragon a couple times, but never the.
Yeah, I only defeated 2 because I ran away from them over and over. So there's not an encounter rate just to defeat it. I defeated 2 of them because I needed to.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. That whole part of the game sucked for me, but I mean I got through it.
Yeah, we'll say how many. Oh, defeated. Yeah, I defeated 2 as well.
Since I have the bestiary open, I might as well show.
Yeah, he was a thing.
Because this is the first time. Well, it's more like the lore of it. This is the first time we see Ultima, and Ultima is definitely going to reappear in many different incarnations.
I do love, like, you know, his little shit of like, you know, I am like a god or whatever, and then I just like 3-turned him. So like, I just wiped his ass out.
I did not.
Just like, all right.
I did not 3-turn him, but I'll tell you what, I fucking used that chainsaw. You can find a chainsaw for Edgar in Zozo, and that shit is so good.
It's got a 25% chance of instant death.
I didn't know that. I just use it all the time. I have the what's that item? Like the sniper or something to make it so he never misses physical attacks. So I just hit with the chainsaw because it hits so hard.
Yeah, we'll get more into it when we do it, but Edgar's like one of my main damage dealers. Because his drill also ignores enemy defense completely. So it will just do straight damage, which is very nice.
Okay. And then finally, after Ultima Weapon, there is the fight with Kefka. Well, there's a couple cutscenes with Kefka where he kills the Emperor. Again, a lot of story presentation. I missed some. There's a chest after this fight that you can miss if you step wrong, and so I had to replay the post Ultimate Weapon fight, Ultra Weapon. I already forgot its name. Ultima Weapon fight.
Oh.
I had to watch that cutscene twice.
Sorry, I was looking at the thing. I just realized, like, when you click on the bestiary, it actually shows, like, the background changes.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Typhon, it's actually, like, you falling from the sky.
It's very... I love
the clouds and stuff. I just noticed that. So, sorry, I got distracted.
It's fine. If you dig through the bestiary, you can also see, like, your stealable items. So, I was going through the bestiary to see what I could steal with Locke. You don't really fight Kefka. It's more cutscene stuff, but he does throw the Empire to his death, the Emperor to his death. He sets in motion the destruction of the world for no real reason, and I think that's it. Oh, okay, hey Pierce, I'll see you later. You have a good night.
Night.
And that's about it. We wake up in a town controlling only Celeste, and I literally stop there. I don't know where I am. I don't know what's going on. Where that's just the end of it. So, any general thoughts on the story that we
gotta love? Like, yeah, you know, Terra is the main character. Wake up after major event. Celeste.
Yeah,
all right, sure, Terra's the main character.
Yeah, again, I don't know why Terra is the main character, or in like media she's the main character. But
yeah, because it's like we have probably played, like, I've seen Locke and other characters more often than I have Terra.
Locke definitely feels like a much more fleshed out and interesting character, but maybe that'll change in the second half. We just gotta wait and see. But yeah, that's Final Fantasy VI up till the end of the world. I liked it. How was the gameplay experience for you, Scott? Because I know you said you used boosts. We can start to go into that now.
Yeah, it's decently fun. So I'll go over, I guess, my main party and kind of the concepts behind it. Is like Terra is pretty much my white mage, and the only reason I started her as my white mage was because I was like, oh, main character. I'll probably have her in the party most of the time for plot reasons. So I should have her just like be useful as like a white mage and black mage. And then like again, she hasn't been in the plot or in the party for a shit ton of plot, so that kind of failed. But when I get the option, she does know every magic that you can get from all the magicites and stuff like that. I did train her up in that. And then my other party members that I use are Sabin and Edgar are pretty much my damage dealers. Like, by far. Sabin with the blitz attacks, they don't take any EMP or anything like that. You can just keep spamming the fuck out of them. And things like, Rising Phoenix does like all damage to all enemies, which is nice. Same with Razor Gale if they're immune to fire. And then you can also use Aura Cannon is pretty much like the default for any single targeting because it's holy elemental and that no one's really resistant or immune to holy elemental, so it just does consistent good damage.
Yeah,
and then
the tip that I got on that was if you equip the 2 earrings on him, that'll make it even stronger. But I didn't do that too often because I was suplexing everything for the memory.
Yeah, so only the suplex and the Raging Fist are physical. Everything else is magic based.
Yeah, I was doing the suplex.
So as physical as Sabin seems, he's more beneficial to have a magic build on. Edgar, his tools again can do a lot of good damage without any MP or anything like that. The drill's great for single targeting because it does piercing, so I don't have to worry about enemy defense. And then Flash is a great one for multi-target. So he's also a magic build currently. And then the other character kind of changes based on plot reasons. Like Locke, I have leveled up pretty decently just because the plot keeps shoving him in the party. So I kind of have to.
What level are your characters?
The characters I use more often, so like Sabin is about 44 right now.
Okay.
And then like they're all in about the 40s other than like because I have to use Celeste now, and she was like level 20 something, 25, 30, somewhere in there. Because I didn't really use Celeste other than when the plot has now forced her, and I think Julian's asleep.
Yeah. Julian!
But yeah, like, you're asleep.
Oh shit.
But yeah, like, I see the benefit of Celeste. I just never personally used her. Because I was just like, I don't really need a tank build. Because I see her as more like a magic tank. And I could be entirely wrong, but that's kind of the vibe I got from her runic ability and stuff like that.
Red mage.
Well, any character can be a red mage. There's no limitations on black and white magic in this game.
But she actually had
you can learn everything.
Well, yeah, but she had a better attack and better weapons to use over Terra, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, I use Terra as a black mage. I'm playing without boost, and I was never really in a position where I needed to have a dedicated healer. I was able to get through fights pretty
I still
okay.
do.
I would call the character I would call any mage just a mage. They can use black, white, and time magic and stuff like that. Like, there's not really like a different thing. The only characters I really find completely useless are like Setzer. I don't really see a point to Setzer. I don't really see a point to Gao unless you really want to dive deep into his abilities and also spend a lot of time on the Veil Plane to get like the better stuff.
I don't mind the gambling gameplay.
I need to get into I just haven't used them.
It's just literally like the only difference he is like, yep, here's a slot machine that you can do and hope for the best.
Yeah, to sort of put things in context about how farther ahead you are, Scott. My highest level character before the going into the ultimate or the whole cutscene ending part, I had a level 29 Locke, and my lowest level character was level 14. Gao. My Gao was level 14.
Yeah. I was gonna say you at least need to be around 25 or so, because like Ultimate Weapon and Nalapa are about 26. So the game expects you to be around level 30 or so. Which is surprising that using boosts, I'm still only about 10 levels higher than what the game expected me to be.
Well, if you're at 44, that'd be 19 levels if they're expecting you to be at 25.
I've done a little bit of grinding since then, because like with us doing the game club today and me catching up today, I went a little bit farther than you. But
yeah, I stopped.
Like,
I stopped at the house.
And if I had finished earlier in the month, I would have stopped. But I'm like, literally after stream tonight, I'd be able to keep playing. So I'm like, I might as well just go a little bit farther. I'm not much farther, I will say, but I'm a little bit farther. But it's like, yeah, gameplay-wise, I think the game is fun. I just don't like the fact that, number one, your party constantly keeps changing for plot reasons. That was one of the issues I had with 4, and it's one of the issues I have with this one. And then I don't like the fact that it's like, you just won't use certain characters because they're just, it's the play style. Like, there's no way to be like, well, I like this character, but you know, I don't like the playstyle. It's like, yeah, too bad. Like, if you liked Gao and don't like his playstyle, well, that's just too bad. You're not going to use Gao until the plot demands you use Gao. I don't know if the plot will, but if the plot's like, nope, you've got to use this character, it's like, great. Now I have to try and figure out how, like, to use this character.
Julian,
there's no incentive.
Way that you played this game?
Me?
Yeah, like, I don't know if you did anything special or different when you were playing this game.
I just boosted everybody and kind of just played with it and just kind of played with everybody. At certain points, I was like, okay, I'm killing all the enemies in one hit. I'm gonna stop now, and so I could have at least like some kind of challenge for the boss. And then at one point, I said, "Fuck it," and just kept going. And then after a certain point, my team selection was just Edgar, Celeste, Saving and freaking fuck it. And the third person just got switched around all the time. So the extra person got switched around a bunch.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because I would just fuck around and switch with whoever I ever wanted in the party. But essentially, it's just like, my party's full of blonde people.
This feels awfully Aryan.
I don't like
Final
this.
Fantasy.
I don't like this. I don't like this. Green-haired girl,
Little did we know Julian was just like fucking setting up his own personal race there.
It's like, what the fuck?
But yeah, my party wasn't much different other than compared to Scott's. My party wasn't much different other than it was lower level, and I added Locke because I like stealing stuff. I thought it was pretty fun to just steal potions and high potions and ethers, and I'm loaded up on that kind of shit, pretty confidently. And then every now and then I get a rare drop, like an armor or weapon or something that I wasn't expecting. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. As we continue, I might turn on the boost for money, just to make things a little bit easier to get equipment, but I'll probably play the majority of the game without any boosts, because I like playing it like that for now. Up until I need to grind for whatever the case may be. I'm just following the guide. But yeah, now that we have gone through the discussion, we will be continuing Final Fantasy VI for Octubre. We'll be playing up until the end, including any side content that you decide to do, and we'll have our discussion, and we'll knock off every single pixel Final Fantasy off of our to-do list by the end of October. So we'll discuss it on the last
really cool.
Wednesday of the month, which would be the 30th, so the day before Halloween. Oh yeah, look forward to that. And then in November and December, Current plan is to do Final Fantasy VIII. We'll see how we feel, because I don't know how everybody's gonna feel during the holidays playing another Final
Well,
Fantasy.
in the beginning of November, I'm gonna be busy.
Yeah. So we'll figure things out from there. But yeah, any last minute things you guys want to say on the first half of Final Fantasy VI before we end this discussion?
No, I mean I think that
Don't
like it's
look
pretty
up,
much said.
Don't look up Terra trance art.
Trance art?
Fucking Esper.
Yeah, when
Terra
she's in Esper mode.
Oh.
When she's in that pink mode.
Is there a rule
Yeah.
34 of her as a pink ghost lady?
Yes.
Weird.
Not a ghost lady. She's a ghost lady.
She's like furry.
She's like a. She's.
Is she covered in fur? I thought that was like white light.
Well,
No, I think it's like fur, because like
Well,
Dissidia,
essentially-
it was like furish.
Well,
Yeah,
you would
essentially
think it's
it's,
fur, you furry. I'm gonna have to talk to
oh
a
no
normal person.
no. Like because officially it's like she is. It's like it's supposed to be like overflowing magic, but because they can't really like have her on fire, it looks like she's covered in fur.
Okay, but it's not fur. It's like just white.
Yeah, no. We'll get to the fur. The people covered in fur when they do that.
I'm looking up her wiki. I'm trying to avoid being spoiled. But,
Yeah, that's why I was gonna look it up real quick for you.
She looks much
Alright,
hotter
well-
in Dissidia.
Here's official artwork of her transform. I'll put it in LazyGamingGuys.
Oh, that's the horny gay dude though. I don't know how to draw. I don't trust his art too much.
Oh, that says official trans.
Oh, I believe that. I 100% believe that. But it's that one dude who draws like. Remember, he did all the art in Final Fantasy II. Real gay.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, I mean,
He does like and then like.
that's how it looks.
He's a wonderful artist. This is nothing against him, but he exaggerates certain things.
You just need to know that that's how it looks.
I do. I see that. That's how that art looks.
I'm just like I don't trust it. This is from the horny
Was
guy.
it Yoshitaka or what's his name? I can't remember.
Yoshitaka.
What's his...
Ghost something. Fuck. Oh fuck! See, I'm drawing all the blanks. I shouldn't be drawing all the blanks.
Yeah.
I almost bought an art book for. Again, like I like him enough that I almost bought his art book.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna kill me for
I
the
should actually. You know what? Well, I don't know if I can reach it right now. Let me see if I can reach it. I have the Final Fantasy Ultimania for this.
Okay, here we go. Character. Okay, Terra has been portrayed with varying eye colors. Her in-game sprite and FVMs added to the Final Fantasy Anthology version. She has green eyes. When in her Esper form, Terra is depicted as a nude figure with pink-purple skin, long wild hair reaching past her waist, tufts of fur on her arms and legs, and yellow claws on her hands and feet. In the SNES and GBA versions of Final Fantasy VI, her Esper sprite has red eyes, and her portrait has yellow eyes, but in the mobile and Steam, she has green eyes. So there is fur on her. She isn't covered
she does
in
become
fur.
But she does gain fur.
Yeah. I wonder if I'd get fur if I transformed into an Esper. My chest,
yeah.
it's just me, but my chest hair is like 3 inches bigger.
God.
But her skin does change
Oh,
color. It's
yeah,
like-
that
it's I thought
the
it was
picture is
white.
actually from the gallery in the game. Like it's in the
Yeah.
gallery.
Yeah, that dude.
There's also like a mini version.
yeah
Like
that
a chibi version.
I can't remember his name. He is a very. I mean, we've seen his art in all of the games. He's.
Oh yeah,
he's like an
he's
official
the
title
he's the
guy.
official artist for like the
Yoshitaka
covers.
Amano. Yoshitaka Amano. It's,
Yeah, because like he did all the covers and stuff like that for the older ones.
But he'll make
His version of Locke is not as gay as I thought it would be.
I'm avoiding. I always avoid looking at the illustrations until after. I'm
Oh,
done.
oh my God! bro.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, looking at one of Locke's unused character design, he's straight up just wearing the costume that Gio Giovanni from JoJo Part 5 is wears. Like, it's just like a pink shirt with a heart and everything. I'm like, holy shit, it's just JoJo. Like, JoJo used that.
Well, it's not like JoJo's is above taking things for themselves, or people
God.
referencing JoJo's. Oh my god!
I'm looking at some of Yoshitaka's art as well. His Tidus and Yuna look way more Asian than in the game.
They
Yeah.
always, Omni, almost always, his stuff looks more Asian than it actually is.
His Edgar actually looks pretty cool. So
If
does
you want to see
Steven.
something, jarring and confusing, look up the fucking Nintendo Power art for fucking Final Fantasy IV characters.
The faces on his I put it in the LGG Discord, but the faces for his 13, they look really funny.
Oh god.
Zaz looks cool though. I love Zaz. Easily the best character.
That
in
looks
Final
cool.
Fantasy
Yeah. Oh, at 100%.
Yeah.
Fucking Lightning's gunblade. God, Lightning's gunblade doesn't even look like it's a gunblade.
I mean, he looks like the best.
Yeah.
Although Vanille doesn't look too bad.
That's supposed to be Sarah.
Lightning has a very pronounced. He looks like one of those Wallace and Gromit noses. Like he's so.
Yeah.
fucking-
Snow's nose is huge.
Yeah. Hope's face is so funny. Anyway,
Fuck Hope.
I know we were gonna go over the state of play, but we're kind of losing Julian, and I'm kind of hungry.
Well, we're losing me. We're losing me because I fucking. I didn't. I wasn't doing anything while we were talking, and usually because I usually
Here's his
am.
saving.
I usually am, and I fucking just tell myself it's like no.
He's Guile. He's just Drew Guile.
Yeah.
It's just Guile.
With a gun. Like,
Yeah, that's fucking Guile, dude.
Yeah, but now that I've been doing something, I'm conscious.
All right. Do you want to watch the state of play?
That's fine.
All right.
we can't. Give me a second though. I gotta swap over to my laptop so I can actually see the state of play with y'all.
All right. I gotta set everything up anyway, so you got time.
Did I haven't?
Alright.
I actually haven't heard anybody say anything about it today, which worries.
Oh, I've seen a bunch of stuff and it looked really cool, so I'm excited.
The state of play was really good.
All right, give me 1 second. Let me transfer over.
I gotta find it on this fucking chat. All right. Let's see. Are you looking for an activity to do? I sure am.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound a little hollow. You there?
Yeah. What if I do this? Does it sound better?
That sounds
No.
better, but not by
Probably.
much.
What was
Damn
it?
it. That's what I hate doing on my laptop.
It's most likely picking up something it shouldn't.
Okay. Let's
No!
do-
Stop asking me to turn on hardware acceleration.
Quality. There we go. And I guess I gotta do this over here. How do I make it big? Tease it. All right. More? No. Full screen. There we go. All right. And then if I add a source, I should probably delete this other source that I'm not using. This is how the cabbage is made, people. This is what you pay the big dollars for. All right. Desktop game capture application desktop capture. I guess I could just do desktop. Desktop one. Oh no, here we go. This works. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. Oh my god, I'm dying. Okay. All right, now we gotta make it so Julian's in front of it. All right, there we go. Perfect. I should blow my nose. Pardon me.
Question mark?
So you really haven't seen anything from State of Play? Even the
Nope.
big, huge one?
Can
Crazy.
you hear me?
Yeah.
I've seen stuff about I've seen the Sega thing, but that's it.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my audio.
Right there where you said audio with the Dio sounded good. I don't know if you moved your mic close or whatever.
Because I think what's happening.
You sound...
How's it sounding now?
Yeah, it sounds much better.
What's happening is it's picking up the microphone on the laptop, not my headset.
You need to
Oh,
disable that.
yeah, you can go into your Discord settings and change it.
So I'm trying to figure out right now.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say it. You hit the little gear, you go to voice and audio, and then under voice it should have a pull down where you can pick your mic.
Voice and video.
Voice and video, yes. Julian, do you drink any
Okay. How does that sound?
better? It's good enough for me.
Okay, because
The first time you came on, it sounded like you were like this, like super far away, and in a
okay,
tunnel.
yeah.
All right. Then I think we're good to start. You guys good?
What were you about to
Yeah,
ask?
give me a second to get all this.
You were about to ask me something?
Me? Was I?
Yes. He said, Julian, do you drink any?
Oh yeah. I picked up Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar for the first
Ugh.
time, and I didn't know if you drank any of the zero, like Pepsi Max or Coke
Oh,
Zero.
I don't drink
any of
soda.
that. You don't drink soda at all. Okay.
I don't drink soda at all.
Yeah,
Okay.
Julian hasn't ever since he was young.
Yeah, I just don't care for soda.
Geez, is this like a carbonation thing? Like you don't even drink ginger ale or tonic waters or things like that?
I'm gonna be honest. I think it's mostly the feeling of it's
Yeah, I
the
get-
feeling of carbonation. I'm not a really big fan of.
Yeah, I know
I like
people
my
like
drinks
that.
to go down smooth and fucking even like it. You know, even somehow that's why I haven't really had like participated in alcohol for a while because it's like, I haven't had a reason to. I haven't really had anybody nagging, really anybody in my ear to do anything with it. So it's like I don't really. It's like, huh. Then I was like, huh, I don't really care. I'm a social drinker. Yay!
Yeah, I don't drink that much unless it's on stream or I have company or something. But yeah, I know some people that are avoidant of the bubbles. They don't like it. I don't know. I like soda enough. I don't drink it too much. But I finally started drinking some of the zero sodas, and they're pretty good. But Dr. Pepper Zero is by far my favorite. It's so good.
Yeah, the only person that drinks Dr. Pepper in this house is my roommate. He drinks it a lot.
I am hoping to not be like that. Mostly I drink water, but I use little powders or like the Mio syrups or whatever to give them a little bit of flavor. But
Well, he
that's,
drinks a lot too, but it's like
that's
it's
mostly
only
what I
soda we have.
yeah, that's mostly what I drink. And cold brew, my cold brew coffee. If I like get fast food or something and they give me a drink, I'm not gonna dump it out or nothing, but I'm not like, oh, thank God, a soda. Or I'll get like, I love it when fruit punch is on the menu at a fast, like Jack in the Box has fruit punch or like Wendy's has
Well, it
lemonade.
depends on the Well, it depends on some of the
Yeah.
places because some of these places, it's like it's not fruit punch; it's sugar water.
Really? I never.
It's like so ridiculously sweet that I can't do shit with it. That I can't
Well,
drink it.
like at a Dunkin' Donuts, yeah, those refreshers, it's just syrup. It's outrageous. But if I go to a Wendy's and I get a lemonade or a punch or something,
Like a iced tea or
I'm
something?
pretty satisfied. Just let me know when you're ready and we'll start watching.
I'm ready whenever you all
You
are.
good, Julian? You good?
Yeah.
Okay, so we might not do too much talking until like between trailers, but you know how it goes.
Fucking Steam opened. What the fuck? Because when you start watching,
I don't know. I'm excited to see some of the trailers for some of the things I've seen. Because
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, I've seen some of the announcements, but I haven't watched the trailers for them. Oh, I love Astro.
Yeah, they really were prepped for Astrobot to do well because this. I have to imagine this trailer was made within like the last month or so.
Oh, probably. Is that
Helldivers, yeah.
Astro was such a fun little game. Yeah, not a fan of just speedrun levels, but neat for people that do like it.
That's Stellar Blade.
Yep.
Maybe? Okay.
Yeah,
like
that's lovely.
mid Helldivers, yeah.
Forgot the dance.
Yes. Yeah, there's nothing like seeing Kratos flossing.
Hi everyone,
I
I'm
do like that
Nicholas
it's a
Ducey,
free
studio
add-on.
head at Team Asobi.
That
We couldn't
sweatshirt's
be
cool.
happier with the reception to
I'd buy
Astrobot
that
and to see
sweatshirt.
how much joy Astro is bringing to homes all around the world. On behalf of Team Asobi, thank you so much. Now, we still have a few surprises up our sleeves. Today's trailer was a
I'm gonna
sneak
turn the
peek at the
volume down just a
DLC.
little
We'll
bit 'cause
release
it's
later
hard for
this
me
year.
to
I can barely
at no additional
understand
cost.
a word this
We'll have
man
more
is
to
saying.
share soon. But for now, let's enjoy the state of play.
He's just like, we're very happy you bought our game. Thank you so much for playing our game.
Yes.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for playing my game.
Listen to me, burnt one.
I really like this trailer.
You walk the midnight walk. You better be sure to keep your
I recognize that
spark
voice
safe
actor.
and burning.
Fucking Ein. Ein zu Gau.
Yeah.
While I was in the black, I had a dream.
This is a weird looking game.
There was
Yeah.
a monster in the woods.
And on you go, like a moth into the burning light.
And
Oh,
it's
it's
in
VR
VR too, yeah. It looks so weird and creepy.
Yeah, it's not a game I would ever buy, but it's a really cool looking game. Like, I'm happy it exists for people because it's a neat concept to also have it like all like clay. I mean, I know we had clay fighters back on the N64, but like
That
that's
was-
a very different thing.
That was garbage.
Charming little wanderer. Where are you off to now?
And so it was that the burnt one and a small flame took a wander down the midnight walk.
Yeah, it is neat.
Yeah, I'll probably pick this up. Whoa, they're putting it's gonna play on TikTok? Why is TikTok there? I never noticed that
I
before.
don't
What
know.
does TikTok have to do with this?
Announcements, maybe?
I don't remember when it happened, but I remember how I felt. Father told us to hide
Oh,
when they
it's
came
this.
to our house. Then
It's like some kind of horror game.
took him away. Mother said I couldn't play outside
Oh, I guess some
anymore.
military game.
Everyone had fled. She said the
Oh.
country was sick, but we would be okay. Mother always said monsters didn't exist. I thought they lived under my bed. We were both wrong. They lived inside our heads.
That was weird. Thankfully, you can just kill him with a sword. all the advanced technology, and it's just like a fucking sword. It's the way you kill them.
I remember seeing this trailer and I love the art design. But I'm like, I'm not sure if I would play it.
Yeah.
Ew, Hollow.
To me, it's one of those, like, I'd probably give it a shot if it showed up on, like, you know, free PlayStation Plus or something like that.
Another Souls-looking game.
But
That's the other thing. I can't tell if it's the Souls-like or if it's a character
or
action.
just an action. Yeah. I was thinking it was an action one. But
Sure, Bobby. We'll start over. Welcome. We finished the Final Fantasy VI talk, so we're just watching the state. Were we watching the state of play? Well, I'm rewatching the state of play.
yeah. Another Metro game?
Yeah, they announced this at the last state of play, or the one before it. It's just Metro in VR.
No, okay. I could never get into this series. Like,
Really
I've tried
want to.
about 3 times to try and get into this series.
I really want to do
And I
this for
just could
Game
not do
Club,
it.
because I think it's only like 7 hours long, something like that.
Some sort of ritual. Please.
One
I
of
don't know.
them,
I
the
haven't
first
picked it
one or
up yet.
something.
What is that?
I remember streaming the first one, like, for a little while.
Yeah, I got
Then I
that.
got so pissed off at it.
I played the first one up until I got to the outside on some kind of ice platforms, and then I just stopped playing.
Is that you?
But I really want to play them. I own them. I just need to play them.
I feel like
Yeah, they're always on sale for really cheap, but
sometimes we need to become the thing we fear to prevent something worse.
it seems like a good game for VR.
I want to know where the fuck he got the pomade for his hair, because that shit is slick.
Well, you know, some things you still need even in a post-apocalypse.
So, how did it feel to learn the truth about the night sky tragedy?
I don't know, why do you have the Witcher's sword?
You humans slaughtered each other until the whole world lay in ruins. And yet, you have been granted another chance in Auroria. It must be the will of your beloved mother goddess. However,
This.
I still have no trust in your kind.
I don't know how I feel about this. Like, the action looks interesting. This one looks kind of Souls-like.
Whatever Final Fantasy 16 is, this looks like Final Fantasy 16 combat. Oh, multiplayer.
Yeah.
Prove yourself. If you survive this trial,
Julian, do you want to play multiplayer Witcher with me?
Multiplayer Witcher is. I mean, sure, but like, what is this? What am I? Arcade?
you might become one of us.
It's not a character action game.
One of us.
Another
One
vaguely
of us.
character action game. Whether it's going to be difficult or not is up for the question.
Oh yeah, this. So before they lose their lawsuit and get sued,
Yeah.
they got it into oblivion. They're
Oh my
copying off
God.
PS5.
Oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys
Yeah.
if you wanted to play this together on stream.
No.
No, I'm not spending money on this.
I'm not setting a time on this.
Wait, Power World is free, isn't it?
No.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's just because I played it on Xbox games.
Yeah, it's
I
like
thought it was free to play.
$40.
Is it?
Yeah, it ain't free.
Obviously, Power World was free.
But yeah, on Xbox it is.
Yeah, Xbox Game Pass.
What the fuck? What kind of Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, the game is good. You just gotta be interested in playing survival games. Which
Yeah, which
for me, I have a
That
passing
is
interest in
not-
them. I'm good with them for like a couple hours, but I don't want to invest the time to get to the
this
end.
is hilarious.
For that new look at Pal World, an incredible open world survival game.
Actually, wait a
launching
minute.
Today on the PlayStation 5 console.
Well, this lady's jamming
Yeah,
on.
Power World is $30 if you want it.
So apparently, the PS5 version in Japan is still being held. It's not been released.
Yeah, it's not going to be released in Japan. No, just in US. Lunar! I never played Lunar before.
I am excited for this one. I've seen Let's Plays of Lunar, and I've always wanted to play through it.
Yeah, Bobby, it
so
came out
this will be
when the
like
state of play was.
the perfect way.
Eternal Blue complete with updated visuals, widescreen mode.
It'll have quality of life improvements and everything. And the animation looks great. Like, I already have this wish listed, so.
I don't need to play another RPG.
Collection comes to PS5 and PS4 in spring 2025. Two updates.
I mean, most of what I play is RPGs, so.
First, the Radical Reptiles DLC, which adds
Oh, there's
Mondo
DLC for
Gecko
Shredder
and Mona
too.
Lisa as playable characters. And for
That's
no
kinda
extra
neat.
cost, a remixed in-game soundtrack featuring some amazing guest composers. Both of these updates arrive later today.
So the characters you pay for, but the music is free.
Yep.
Well, yeah,
I
because
heard
no
about
one would
this,
pay
actually.
for just a few remixed soundtracks.
And I already knew about this.
Shadow!
G-Unit! I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm in the real world. I'm voiced by
And
Keanu
yes,
Reeves.
you heard right. Keanu Reeves is joining Sonic X Shadow Generations as part of the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie pack. This
Oh.
update is inspired by scenes from the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie and arrives December 12th. The Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie pack is included in the Digital Deluxe Edition, which lets you play the game 3 days ahead of its October 25th release date.
Yeah, to me, this is just I guess.
He looks good.
I'll already be buying the game, but this I'm excited about.
Yeah, I've been excited for Fantasian since we saw that trailer. I like it.
Yeah, we saw that trailer. It looked like a fun concept. I hope it's good. Because, like, the concept is fun, but I don't know how good it will actually be.
For anybody
So I really
missing
hope it
any,
lives up to everything.
yeah, for anybody that's missing any contests, this game was on mobile, but it was on that Apple Play Store that you could only get if you had an iPhone. And all the critics loved it. People liked it. It was just limited to Apple phones. Because we all know how popular RPG players are with their Apple phones. But now it's coming like fully voiced, better graphics, and etc. etc. So I'm excited to play it.
Yeah.
We're just over a month away from the release of Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Let's check in with
I still gotta
BioWare
pre-order
and
that.
Electronic Arts for an
I was
extended
so
look at the climactic
never mind.
battle.
Let's watch this.
We've gotten word from the wardens. Have they found Gillenade?
I need to actually finish a Dragon Age game.
You never finished any
I was-
Dragon Age?
I always get like over halfway through, and then for one reason or another, I stop. But I love every one of them. I've bought every one of them, love them. But I've just never actually played them through to the end.
With that dragon.
We've tracked it to a ruined tower nearby.
That lair is a death trap. We need to lure her out to have any chance.
Julian, are you gonna play Dragon Age?
I mean, I beat Inquisition.
So are you gonna get this one or try to get this one?
I don't know. I don't have anything modern anymore that can play things anyway. I gotta update my computer.
Yeah.
It's a lot of shit.
Everyone,
If I get the PS5 Pro, do you want to buy my PS5, Julian? I'll sell it to you for $100 and a hand job.
He'll even jizz on it for you.
Yeah.
Just like right into the SSD.
Gross.
That way there will always be a memory of him on there.
It's fine. I'm only gonna lose 2 of my fingertips anyway.
Oh, that looks pretty cool. If these are actually in-game graphics, though, too, it looks really good.
You're about to see some gameplay.
second detachment, flank on the walls. Let's go.
Oh shit! It actually just looks really good. Yeah, you kill that ice talon.
I love Monster Hunter.
I love Monster Hunter. This is not. This
Yeah.
is fucking. This is that other Monster Hunter I don't like. I don't know. I'm really unimpressed with this gameplay because if you look at what's happening, it's just either shooting straight, tackling, or doing a spin attack.
Yeah, I kind of need to see some sword action. Because casting's great and all, but
it reminds me of something. I guess technically it reminds me of like third-person Skyrim, because that's pretty much what you do in Skyrim. It's like the same few things over and over again to do what works. I love how apparently this boss takes so fucking long. You have to keep doing these cuts.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I was never really that interested in this Dragon Age game because it's been so long since I was involved in any Dragon Age lore. And I don't really replay the games that much. I never played Inquisition at all. But I'm like so unimpressed with that gameplay.
I can tell you right now, I did not play Dragon Age for the gameplay was never really the challenge in Dragon Age.
Yeah, you wanted to bone, get down and dirty.
Well, it's also, just the well, it's not because of the boning part. It's because, they had interesting characters.
Yeah, I did like this characters and story of Dragon Age 1.
I would.
You're all free to play.
I'm really hoping that this is an early game or a early section of the game too, and maybe that's why the combat's more limited.
Maybe.
Is like that. This is like the first big boss type of thing that you fight.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too surprising. I did like the first one where it was the blight and your whole platoon was devastating and all. Like I liked a lot of the first one. I was not that impressed with 2. Inquisition was cool.
I think Inquisition was better than 2.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. It just wasn't very memorable for me.
First time in Bright Falls.
I thought this was gonna be Control 2. I lost my mind.
Set up a facility.
Is this like
the lake house?
Part of Alan Wake?
Yeah.
So I was gonna say like Bright Falls is the name of the town in Alan Wake.
On driving.
But that's Jesse talking.
Oh, it's the Center Bureau of Control right there. That logo.
Yeah, Bobby knows it's DLC.
Yeah, I figured for Alan Wake too.
Yep. It looks spooky though.
Because they announced that there was going to be DLC for Alan Wake 2, so.
Yeah, Control-based DLC. I just really wanted Control 2 to be announced, man. I left Control disappointed because of the gameplay and like they didn't really know how to put an action game together. But I liked the premise and the story and the lighting, the graphics. I thought those were all great. It just wasn't a great action game.
It was really fun when you put on like the invincibility and the one-shot kill everything.
I wish I had.
Like it was honestly a decently fun time at that point.
So hard.
Was this Hitman?
Yeah, Hitman VR, dude.
VR Hitman? For
the PSVR 2, though.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Did you see the hands change to the choke mode?
That was a little jarring there.
Little chunky.
Hands, activate kill mode. You start jerking off. No, no hands, no, not now.
Activating jerk off mode.
No hands, why have you betrayed me? God, some of this animation does look a little rough.
I am going to watch so many people that speedrun this shit in VR. I'm fucking love it. I'm pretty keen on PSVR 2. I'm a supporter of it, but sure as hell
I'm
don't.
happy that they're finally putting out a bunch of stuff for it right now.
Yeah, I sure as hell don't want to play Hitman VR. That's just gonna be jank as hell.
Oh, I did see this as well. I don't have any big thoughts on it though, because I never played the originals. But it's nice that they decided to bring them back.
Finally, the only old PS game at this point that they haven't really remade or anything is Siphon Filter.
Yeah.
And I guess we're older, so I guess you could also say SOCOM, but fuck, we're old.
SOCOM.
PS2 is retro now, guys.
What madness is this?
It's been retro for a while now, sadly.
Yeah.
But no, like, this was one that Astrobot had characters for this.
That's fun.
So
I should probably buy that tonight and play it.
Yeah, granted, and them having characters means absolutely nothing for whether a game's going to get released, but it was nice to then see a release like this. I know Jacques likes this franchise.
He does?
Yeah, he played Soul Reaver back in the day. Like, me and him have talked about Soul Reaver.
I
Yeah.
we forgot to text Jock. He's probably asleep anyway.
Yeah. He probably crashed. But yeah, like, when this goes down in price, I'll probably pick it up just to try out the game.
If it launches at more than $30, I'd be surprised.
It is
first game's release.
Coming December 10th.
You sure we can't just do the same?
Games from the original PlayStation era also inspired Fear the Spotlight from Blumhouse Games. It brings atmospheric polygonal scares to PS5 and PS4 on October 22nd.
Just go home, Viv. I'm happy here. So happy.
At last, we've returned to our ancestral land. A gasp of
Soul Reaver will be $30.
Yeah, that's what I
Build
expect.
villages and nurture
If you pre-order it, it's $27.
I am curious about this game. It's I always want to do a farming game of some kind, and I'm always disappointed.
And also allows
This one looks weird as shit.
players to visit your island.
I don't like the character designs.
Towers of Agazba
They look like
launches into early access
what
this
that
November.
Train Your Dragon shit.
Yeah, and I hated that.
Epic Games brings a
Like, I like the
split-screen
movie,
mode
but I
to
hate
Lego
the
Fortnite
character
this
designs.
October. This feature enables friends and family to explore the world and build
Oh, man,
villages
Lego
together while playing
Fortnite.
on the same PS5 or PS4. And in other Fortnite news, the new Fortnite limited edition
controller does
DualSense
look
wireless
clean.
controller arrives later this year with pre-order.
And everyone that got that Concord controller,
Visit PlayStation.
price went up on that one.
Next, it's
Since
1
that
versus
game,
1,000
like,
in
crashed
Warriors
and died.
Origins.
I was
Yeah.
excited for this trailer.
After, like, 2 weeks. Oh, yeah.
Let's take a
I'm
look.
excited for this. Finally, a PS5.
The stuff they showed
Dynasty
off
Warriors.
at like that Chinese game convention was pretty cool.
Paths with men who may one day bring about order. Until then, you must adapt.
Julian
to
would
the
probably
chaos
recognize a lot of these characters.
and
I
find a
don't
way
really
to
know that much about
survive.
Chinese mythology.
So choose your path wisely. Go forth and learn what
I know
it
that this
means
is
to
the
be
Yellow
a hero.
Turban Rebellion.
It better not be the same, because you know most of these games
It's
are the
all
same
going to
story
be the
over and
same.
over.
They're all based on the same books, Julia.
Uh-huh.
It's always the Three Kingdoms.
Always the story of the Three
Down the
Kingdoms.
system without providing an alternative is mere wanton
Most of my knowledge of Romance of Three Kingdoms comes from Dynasty Warriors.
Whoa, I've
specifically 7.
just jumped from that crowd of people on the
And,
ballista into that big old crowd.
Kohime Muso.
That guy's
Oh,
handsome.
is that Lubu?
Why is Lubu so handsome?
He's always handsome, sir.
I guess. I couldn't see with the graphics before.
die has been cast.
True.
All that remains is to see this through.
I mean, the game looks great.
Yeah, I'm very
I'll
excited
be
for
picking
this.
this up.
Me too. If it has
Like-
multiplayer, we should play together on stream.
Hell yeah. I'm all for that. Yeah, because I've always loved the Dynasty Warriors franchise. Ever since about the PS3 era is when I started playing it.
I played
And, like, to see a PS5 one, like, yeah.
Yeah, I like the gameplay. I just wanted to, have a steady frame rate, lots of people, good. I just really wanted it to be a current gen, and that's what we're finally getting. Oh my nuts! They're so tight and filled with jizz. Oh, they're just gonna come out.
What the hell?
Yeah. It's Monster Hunter Wilds.
Oh.
So, Captain, what's your team been getting up to?
Speaking of Capcom, fuck Capcom.
We'll discuss that in a bit. I think your hunter has voiced lines in this game.
This forest is amazing.
That's interesting.
I might be wrong, because I only watched this trailer once. That's a Palico, though.
Yeah.
This monster looks so cool, and it's so big.
I'm a fish.
Look at
He's a
fish monster.
Yeah.
Catfish monster.
I'd be very surprised if that's not an elder, but if it isn't, like the scope of this game is insane.
New catfish monster.
Yeah.
And look, the tidal wave is now an environmental hazard.
Like it's actually like chasing you along.
I love it. Oh, you're so ugly, and I love it so much. Fishing.
That's back. Yeah.
God,
I did so much
pretty.
of it. Ooh,
yeah, you can throw your bombs now. If the Gajalaka or something akin to them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the little guys. They're kind of adorable.
I like this new monster, the new Jagras, Jaggy, whatever.
Yeah,
it's Arbor. It's the wild version of it.
Oh, let's put the meat down.
Ooh, I like the flame effect on that.
Why would they ever do that, Julian? The Vigor Wasp is back!
Yay!
I don't know if this or the other monster is the flagship one, but this one is very strong.
The White Wraith. It's real.
Ooh.
Is that what we're after? The White Wraith.
See, was that our hunter saying the White Wraith, or is that somebody else?
Someone's in trouble.
I don't know.
I don't know, but she sounds like lightning.
What is that?
Oh, don't make me harder than I already am. Look at this arena. Fuck, this game's cool.
God, that battle looks so cool.
You've got a weapon, and you do nothing.
I've got this horn that says otherwise.
That Monster Hunter giving me drama.
I like the chain effect on that fucking monster.
Yeah, just dropping whips like they're fucking yelling
Yeah.
at Toby. Yeah, I think this is title art. February 28th! It's time, boys!
That is title art. That is, yeah, because the pre-order on PSN has that.
I'm so fucking excited. I'm gonna take like a week off
Red
for
Mage
that.
armor.
Red Mage armor. Yeah, I'm taking a week off for that, boys.
Yeah.
Meow.
Oh,
Yeah, fuck you, Capcom, for that exact thing right there.
皆さんこんにちは。
Ryozo-san.
モンスターハンターワイルズプロデューサーのつごとです。本作の発売日が2025年2月28日。世界
Oh, I saw Assassin's Creed got delayed
本日より順次予約を開始しますの
to
で、
February.
ご予約いただければと思います。プレイ
Yeah.
ステーションストアでご予約いただいた方限定の特典として、プレイステーション
He's doing a lot of PR lately. He has been very
デ
busy.
ジタルミニアートブックをご用意します。
After he stops talking, I'm gonna pause it because I want to bring up something.
23時からは TGS2024 カプコンオンラインプログラムを
That's
放送いたし
tonight.
ます。
That's today.
それでは引き続き
Oh, yeah.
モンスターハンターワイルズの情
Although,
報
we'll
にご
see
注目ください。
what day of TGS they're gonna
また
say
お
anything.
会いしましょう。
Okay. I was very disappointed because I love to spend money on the things I love.
Well, yeah.
I was disappointed there wasn't a collector's edition announced that had a statue like the last several.
Right.
So I was looking there without looking it up. If you haven't already, there is the collector's edition, and it's in Japan only. And you guys will never guess what is the special item in it. Take one guess each.
A daki.
What's a daki? Oh, like a pillow? No,
Yeah,
it is not. It is not a pillow. Scott, what do you think it is?
It was a Grand Meowster Dakimakura,
Oh,
sir.
God.
I would have to buy that.
Would you like to take a guess, Scott?
I'm gonna guess a Palico plushie.
It is not a Palico plushie. For over $1,000 USD, you could get the collector's edition of Monster Hunter Wilds, which would include a full-sized bicycle. It would include a Monster Hunter bike in the
And you
collector's
bought it,
edition.
right?
No, I wish. I cannot make that decision. If it was US based, maybe you could convince me to do that, but no. Of all things in the world, it's including a fucking bicycle. Look it up on.
They want you to get out and touch grass.
Yeah, Google it if you want to see what it looks like, because it's a weird looking bike.
Is it at least I was gonna say, is it at least a cool looking bike?
I'm not a big cyclist. You guys heard me rant about them already in one of my rants. But it's an interesting bike.
So let's get started.
I really want to play this game. It looks so dumb and so fun.
And her,
I mean, yeah, it's Lego.
are all that stands in the way.
The Lego games are always fun.
Join them as they explore, hunt, collect wacky outfits, and decorate their village. Nailed it. This is awesome. But wait, there's more. With the digital deluxe edition, you get this exciting blue roller thing. Fancy costumes, like the Shadow Stalwart outfit. And this, I don't know what that is. That,
I like the little like Ratchet and Rivet outfits. Sackboy.
Look how much fun they're having. Come and join the party at Mother's
DJ Aloy is not something I was expecting.
Phew, got it all in.
No.
Oh, I forgot to mention the pre-order.
Hi everyone, I'm Kristen Zatani. We are so excited for everyone to get their hands on LEGO Horizon Adventures when it launches on November 14th.
Oh god, I really don't want to hear what you're gonna have to say about this next one, Scott.
Why?
Because I know you hate children.
Not to like super
Aloy's
extent.
original adventure, Horizon
Oh, there's
Zero
another
Dawn,
Horizon?
is being remastered for
No.
PS5 and
Oh.
PC.
It's remastering Zero Dawn.
God, why
Yeah.
are we just remastering the PS4 games?
Hours of re-recorded
To be fair, because I love Horizon, you know that. This looks... I was going to ignore this. It looks really good.
What I will say is young Aloy
They
looks
fixed-
so much better
They
in
fixed
this.
her. Yeah, very much
Young
so.
Aloy looked so bad in the PS4 version.
This new version of Horizon
I'm
Zero
probably
Dawn
gonna
will
buy
arrive
this and
October
play it.
31st. And
Yeah, I
anyone
have
who
to
owns
say.
the original PS4 version of the game will be able to upgrade to the new PS5 version for $9.99.
$9.99, baby.
You gotta spend $10. I'm not gonna give it to you for free. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, but with this one, I can at least understand because
Yeah.
it looks like they did really actually.
We
go
put
in
10
and
whole
upgrade
out.
things.
We put 10 hours of new things.
No.
Shit.
If you saw just from the way that they were moving, their faces didn't used to move like that. They were much more static.
Yeah, and young Aloy doesn't look like a horrible monstrosity.
You hated young Aloy so much.
I did. She looked so bad. Like I knew what the PS4 was capable of, and it was better than. Like the PS4 was better than that.
I need to finally buy this game and play it.
But that's not all.
I mean, it looks like.
Oh
an okay
no!
game.
Oh no!
Yeah, I did see this.
Sci-Fi Worlds Collide.
That
is a
music
Stellar Blade
hits
and Nier
so
Automata
hard every
collaboration
time.
coming
So
to
Nier gets
Switch
more
this year.
canon DLC.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew it.
Yeah, it's true though.
That's your favorite fucking piece of trivia.
Now let's talk about what's ahead.
But it's
for
still
PlayStation
fun. Like,
Oh my god! More Nier stuff! Yay! Woo.
2K24.
Wow.
We should play 2K as well.
These will be
oh,
available
Dead
to all
Space.
PlayStation Plus members.
That's been on my wish list for a while, so that's kind of nice.
Meanwhile, our library of PlayStation classics
Huh?
continues to grow, with 2 more fan favorites from the original PlayStation arriving later this year.
You know, one of those games was not like the other, and I'm not talking about Toki Toki.
We're gonna give you Legacy of Kain again,
September 26th
and then
is The Last of Us Day, and we're celebrating by adding the critically acclaimed PS5 hit The Last of Us Part 1 to the PlayStation Plus game catalog this Thursday.
I'm so glad I didn't buy
PS5 hit.
Yeah.
Last of Us.
Well, like the
Yeah.
upgraded PS5 one, which honestly, until I play it, I
that
will
one-
say the PS4 holds up fine. To play a PS3 game,
Yeah,
I replayed
to
it on
me, the
PS4.
Horizon one is a much better. If you're gonna do a PS4 to a PS5,
After all the hours I put into Horizon 1, I can tell you confidently that remake they put work into. It's crazy.
Controllers.
Because like Last of Us, it looked pretty much identical.
Yeah, it looked better, but not. You know, it was
It
fine
wasn't
before.
like, oh man, let me go back out and buy another copy of it.
Before the PS5 came out, I replayed Last of Us, and it held up. And people forget that's a PS3 game.
Metallic shit.
Yeah. And I played the PS4 version, and I didn't really realize it was a PS3 version until one part late in the game that I was like, oh yeah, this feels very old school, very old. It just really stood out, but I mean, it held up. It was fine.
That actually looks good. I'm kind of mad.
Yeah, those systems look clean.
We recently revealed the
Did you see the 25th anniversary or the PlayStation one?
Yeah, I wish I could buy that.
I want the controller, just the controller.
They are going to be selling the controller separately.
I know. It's probably going to sell out really fast,
and it's going to be like $100.
Advanced ray tracing, and AI-driven upscaling that combines.
Yeah. Blah blah blah. PS5 Pro.
I'm probably gonna get the Pro. I'm one of the few people to get a Pro.
5 Pro when it launches this November.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, here's a look
I would. I just.
games that are being
I don't
enhanced for
see
the new console, including
me spending the money for it.
For the very first
if I hadn't already got a PS5, I would probably just get the Pro instead. But...
Yeah. I just love graphics, man. And as somebody who loved Rebirth, like there's a huge
time for another montage.
Performance mode.
Yeah, and I can believe that. For example.
Although they put Forbidden West looks really good too. That scene right there with all the lighting, that looks incredible. I'll probably play Stellar Blade after I get a Pro. I played. I'm about like a quarter of the way through Spider-Man 2. It looks great. I don't see how the Pro can make that one look better. But you spend so much time in the daylight.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can make it look better. It looks amazing.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 was a great game. A little glitchy when it first came out, but a great game.
Yeah, it feels good now. It's hard. It's surprisingly difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt tougher than the original Spider-Man, like PS4 Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Or the Miles one.
You just have to be not afraid to hit all your buttons, because they give you so many tools and they just expect you to use them every time.
Yeah, it's one of those games where it's like, we gave you the tools, why aren't you using them?
Yeah.
Like, we expect you to be using all of these options.
It's very hard to play with just punching and dodging.
Oh, is this the big one that I've seen?
This is the big one.
Because I've seen some stuff about this, but I haven't actually seen
the last part of it.
for
Yeah, we're just about done with this.
Which, like, the fact that it exists, I was already excited for it, planning to get it. So,
people come north.
Like, I will probably pre-order this and pick it up day one.
I should probably finish the first one.
But you...
It's a good game.
It is a very good
somebody spilled ketchup on the floor.
Yeah, and all over that dog.
That mouth looks so good.
The dog ate all that ketchup.
I usually only say when I see Jock.
Every Ronin here
Yeah.
is after you.
God, even the sparks coming off that fire looks really good.
Yeah.
Still think you're the hunter?
Sir, who are you talking to?
Them.
Oh.
It's a ghost.
The new ghost. Which, I do want to talk about how there's already controversy about this game.
It's just incels who don't like
I
playing
know,
as a woman.
but I loved one of the news reporters comments about that. I thought it was fun. So I'll read that after this, but yeah. I think this looks gorgeous. Like I said, I'm already...
Yeah, it looks
Once
amazing.
I found out it existed, I was done. I was sold.
We should incorporate a shamisen into
Tsushima?
We should incorporate shamisen into all fucking country sounding, into all Western sounding music.
It does. The soundtrack does look awesome. Sound awesome.
You can throw that shamisen in anything, and I will freaking jizz to it.
Because it sounds like a shoot 'em up Western with a shamisen in it.
It's spaghetti Western, but with the melody played by a shamisen. It's really good.
Dual wielding?
Dual wielding katanas.
Is that a woman?
That is a woman.
Yes, it's a woman.
The ghost,
which is why there's
the
a
new
quote
ghost
unquote
is,
controversy.
a woman.
Oh, is it that female samurai bullshit?
I don't know what's bullshit about it.
Yeah.
Also, she's not samurai. She's ghost.
Yeah, she's just a female warrior. Like the ghost was never like a samurai. Well, he was a samurai, but once he became the ghost, that was a whole different thing.
Coming out next year.
And from, I don't know if they mentioned it here, but people were saying that it's actually supposed to be like a franchise now.
The Ghost of Yote. Yeah, this was a great state of play. I enjoyed almost everything.
Ghost of Yote, I am like super excited about.
I mean, I'm not like gassed up for it, but it's, it's interesting.
Yeah, because here, where was the? Let me see the comment that one of the news reporters put out for the fact. This was from Dexerto, like in an opinion piece. And they were like, the accusations stem from the fact that the new protagonist Atsu has lady parts in it. And according to some, that's enough to make the whole game untouchable. Obviously, the concept of not touching Omen is very familiar to people that level this sort of criticism. So, just like, damn.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not wrong.
I can't agree with shutting a game down just because it has a female protagonist. But you can't stop the internet.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it looks gorgeous. It looks fantastic. If it plays anything like Ghost of Tsushima, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
that game was very good. But yes, apparently after the success with Ghost of Tsushima, the development team at Sucker Punch wanted to bring another installment. This would be a different experience, not something directly following the previous game. It's set 300 years after the events of Ghost of Tsushima. And then apparently it's not expected to be the last of the franchise.
That's interesting.
So they're planning on making it, assuming it does well, like more Ghost of type of things, which will be really cool. Like, I would love to see it as a franchise.
Yeah, because Ghost of Tsushima ended pretty definitively, if I remember correctly. From what I understand, anyway.
So, well, again, the Ghost of Tsushima, for like in general, was just about the Mongol invasion of Japan.
Look, I'm calling it now. The third game is going to be Ghost of Infamous, and you're going to play as that Nate dude, and you're just going to shoot lightning from the shadows.
Cole. Yeah.
Something white and one syllable.
Yeah.
Thank you for the follow, Joy. I welcome you, and we're about to end, but thank you for hanging out.
But yeah, it is sad though that people are just like, no, it's a woman. A woman can't be a samurai. It's like, number one, I never said she was a samurai. Number two, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Only Tom Cruise can be samurai.
Only this white dude can be a samurai.
I am Tom Cruise. Why are you yelling at me? But yeah, that was State of Play. I liked it. I thought it was good. Obviously, my biggest boner was for Monster Hunter Wilds. Scott's mic is weird because he's on his laptop. Don't worry, we're about to end.
It's what happens when I'm on my laptop.
Yeah. But yeah, Final Fantasy VI is pretty good so far. We're gonna talk about, again, just to wrap things up. We're gonna talk about that at the end of on the last Wednesday of October. After beating the game, and then I'll be back on Saturday, I think. I saw a commercial saying Bad Blood was this Saturday, but I thought it was the first Saturday of October. But I'll figure that out. Whenever wrestling is, I won't be here, but I'll be in the Discord. But whatever. All right. On a side note, just because I want to bring it up, I am working towards the Pterodon mount in Final Fantasy 14. Did you know that, Julian? I announced that.
No.
All right, I'm working towards.
Pterodon mount?
So the Pterodon mount is where you have to collect 500,000 skyward points, skyward score, in the firmament for both crafting and gathering. So I am slowly getting my start there, and I'm adding some other achievements, because technically you don't have to do the grade 2 or grade 3 stuff to get that, but I'm knocking those out as well. And as of right now, I've got about 4 of the crafters done with grade 2 materials. I'll get the other 6 done, do all my mining for grade 3 stuff, get all that crafting done, and then at that point it's going to be the momentum's going to pick up dramatically, because you get barely any score scripts for, sometimes 0 scripts for grade 2 and 3 shit. But once I hit grade 4, oh man. But yeah,
I'm supposed to be doing Eureka on Saturday, so
that'll be fun. Do you want me
No,
to jump
it's
into what part of Eureka are you in? Are you in Pagos or Pyros, or are you in the last area, the first area?
I forget where. It's still the first area.
Yeah, I'll join you for that. Wait, you're playing with your friends, right? Or you're...
Well, it's a full part. Yeah, it's already a full party of people.
Okay, yeah, I'm on the last area of that fucking place. So if you ever want some help, just let me know. I can help you on Wednesdays too.
Well, usually it's more of like fucking mental fortitude of actually sitting through this shit.
Yeah.
Like beforehand, I'm not doing doing anything beforehand. I might just bum the entire day, so I actually can stay conscious for it. Because all these people want to do shit. Everybody I know wants to do shit at night, and because of my fucking job, because my job likes to work me early. I'm a fucking daytime person now, and I can't function at past 1 a.m.
Daytime person.
If I'm lucky to function past fucking midnight.
I'll tell you this right now: if you can't get past the first area, you're gonna have tremendous pain in the second area, because that place is the one that sucks. If you can get past the second area, the rest of them are much easier. But that second area is going to be a nightmare. That place sucks. But yeah, we'll end stream there. I'll be back on whatever Saturday is not wrestling, and that's it. Join the Discords, follow us on our socials, and we'll see you guys on Saturday maybe. Bye, everybody.